Well, Villain Theory, welcome to it. It's been a little while since you've been here. I'm happy to have you back.
Yeah, yeah, good to be here. Excited to talk about stuff.
Yes, exactly. We have so much to talk about, and we'll see how this goes. Because I feel like you're a bit of a talker, and I'm a bit of a talker, and then we have this like concise plan of what we'll do, and then it just kind of goes off the rails. But we'll see. Who knows?
It's funny because I consider myself quite quiet, but when I talk about Marvel Champions, any channel I'm ever on, it takes like twice as long as they expect it to.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So the first thing I want to talk to you a bit about is we had the in-flight report. We had Daredevil finally announced. You've done a video on it, but that was a
Mhm.
little while ago. So let's talk about, I guess, whichever you want to do for. I will let you decide since you are the guest. You can either talk about the in-flight report as a whole, or you can talk about Daredevil first. Whatever you feel like doing.
I'm gonna be honest. I watched the Arkham part of the In-Flight Report. I watched Marvel Champions, and when it moved on, I was kind of like, I've seen enough. It's not that I'm not interested, but I've got a lot of stuff to play in that, and I
Mhm.
knew I'd seen what I wanted. I'd seen what I was most hoping for. So I'll call out Daredevil. This was, there's kind of the meme. Everybody wants Daredevil. He's on all the card art. I don't know how you are about Daredevil, but I feel like a lot of the content creators, maybe I mention him the most. I mention him quite a bit.
Yeah.
I am the meme. I'm the annoying fanboy who wants Daredevil. So I am so happy to see him announced. Like the rest of it aside, that alone has like kind of overshadowed things in a good way for
Mhm.
me.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest Daredevil fan, but I know that part of the community wanted him so bad for so long. And I'm genuinely happy for that part of the community because like they were just and I think there was despair at some point where they're just like, it's not gonna happen. Like this is how they're gonna close out the game 10 years from now. Is like, hey, here's a Daredevil, and that's it.
I mean, I'd say my first impression to everything they revealed is typically quite popular. Like Agents of Shield, people are a little bit down on it. Was it ultra exciting? Probably not, but like I was still pretty excited for it.
Mhm.
But this is good. I'm very happy.
I love it. Are you excited for the other like Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Elektra, Iron Fist as well?
Yeah, I am. I actually have like a video I did like, I don't know, months ago, when I talk about heroes I want to see. And, me and my partner were talking in the car, like, what heroes do you want to see? And it kind of came down to what heroes would be interesting mechanically. And I feel like a lot of the defenders, namely, I'm thinking like Iron Fist really springs to mind. I thought the way he could, his chi and, things could be interpreted. And also, a deep look at martial arts and like
Mhm.
card game form, that really interested me. So on like a nerdy level, kind of interested. Character wise, like Jessica Jones, Daredevil, probably like the two standouts to me. Probably to a lot of people. I know Luke Cage as well. I've been reading comics and he's been in like an increasing amount of those. So generally, like all good for me. Would have maybe liked to have seen the names I've seen around are Punisher and Moon Knight.
Mhm. I think I'm holding out hope, and this is my me being an optimist, which doesn't happen often, is that they may do like two waves of Street Defenders, Daredevil type stuff because there's enough to like have a second wave 2027 with Punisher or whatnot. And I understand there's some like quote unquote brand risk and whatever with the Punisher. Okay,
Mm,
I still feel like they can handle it with enough tact and understanding as far as the designers, but the mouse has the say at the end of the day, and the mouse just might be like, "No, we're not handling, like, we're not dealing with this," and I totally get that, but I think
yeah.
they have enough tact to be like, "Look, we're gonna handle this the right way. We're gonna do it the right way, and whatever." And I think it could be cool. I think it's also one of those things like if it never really happens, like again, like for me, like I want to see it, but I don't. I also don't know Punisher mechanically how interesting you can make him past we have Venom already. Like I feel like they'd be almost similar ish.
I'm not a big fan of Venom and his weapons. Like
Mhm.
Exhauster, defend, fort, or attack mode doesn't necessarily feel like a weapon. I was actually going to shout out maybe Rocket's weapons because
Mhm.
he's got multiple different types of weapons, including like rocket launcher and all the two or three different weapons, and he can take more an aspect. And they use ammo and stuff. And I wasn't too sure what they could do with Punisher. I do think they could do it, but I don't think it would be like this brand new thing that the game has
Yeah.
never seen before. It kind of be a different take on something it has seen. So I don't feel like I have to have Punisher, but
Mhm.
I would like him. So it's one of those.
Do you consider yourself with Marvel Champions more into the theme or more into mechanics, or is it kind of even between the two for you?
I think the theme brought me into the game, but I stayed this long and did all the nerdy stuff because of the mechanics, which I really
Okay.
like. So yeah, like a lot of my favorite characters were characters I didn't know before
Mhm.
I played Marvel Champions. Before I played Marvel Champions, I was kind of a casual MCU enjoyer. Watched some Spider-Man cartoons when I was a kid, kind of thing. And now all these books you can see behind me are comic books.
It got you good.
Oh yeah.
I love it. And then I'm also excited because I love scenario packs in general. So like I'm excited for I know nothing about Shadowland. Like literally nothing. But I have loved 80-90% of the scenario packs they have come out with. So I'm happy that this is being included now. I don't even care what it is at this point. Just give me more villains. I am 100% on board with that.
Yeah, I mean, I look at the front of Shadowland and I see Daredevil and I see a bunch of ninjas and it's just ticked every box.
Yeah, just ninjas everywhere. That's all I want.
Yep.
All right, so let's talk a bit about the rest of the in-flight report. Actually, we could talk about Arkham too, because I thought Arkham was kind of interesting in itself. Of,
Yeah.
they're doing. It feels like, and again, I'm a very casual Arkham player. I know you play it a little more recently. It feels like it's a very big setup year. That like, hey, we're gonna give you all these investigators, so you have all this deck building option, you have all this stuff, and yeah, you have less scenarios, but trust us. And I like Duke. I think he's done a pretty good job. Like, trust us, the next couple of things are gonna, or years, let's say, are gonna set us up for way more scenarios and such.
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting too. Now, I'm a quite a casual Arkham player as well. Have most of the stuff, but there's like one or two campaigns I haven't played through and so on. And not like played it tons of times as an expert like Marvel Champions. So, and I've actually not seen any feedback, any like what people have been saying about the reveals. So this is all just like my random, completely uneducated take on it. But I was curious because they're doing like a campaign box with like 3 scenarios, right? And normally they're like 8 scenarios long. I was like, are they? Is that becoming regular? Is that a one-time thing? I just found it really interesting. I know they're trying to, I think, increase like the release cadence kind of thing. I wonder, are they going to do smaller but more? I
Mhm.
wasn't quite sure. I don't think they said, but I could be wrong. But I found it really interesting how like all these new starter packs, and we finally got confirmation of what an evergreen product was outside the
Oh,
core. So
love
that
it.
was surprising. One of my big opinions is I was surprised at how many investigators are returning, but with like a
Mm.
twist or a change. Because to me, Arkham isn't like locked to like Marvel, with like really iconic characters people want to see. And I was kind of assuming they would just all be new characters.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree. I glanced around on the Reddit page, and I know a lot of people are upset on the Marvel Champions Reddit page, and they're like, "Oh, it's all doom and gloom," and then like the positive people are trying to fight back, and we should be super positive. Don't go to the Arkham page on Reddit if you don't want to see doom and gloom. That community is just
Oh,
like everything is awful. They're so upset, but I think again they're kind of setting
wow.
it up because they want to expand that fan base. And I think the way you do that is drawing like, okay, I have lots of options to play things, and then I'll get into the story. So again, I see their perspective from it. But yeah, it's a lot of doom
Mm,
and gloom over there right now,
wow.
which is interesting, but oh well.
I didn't expect that. When the whole current and legacy environment thing was announced, I know maybe you and me, more than most content creators, were a bit skeptical of it. At least I
Mhm.
was, to speak for myself. But the kind of impression I got was that Marvel kind of community was very divided, but the Arkham community was kind of positive and kind of
Yeah.
like understood it. But I covered the Arkham new core set being announced, and while generally positive, there was a lot more negative than I expected, and it sounds like maybe that spiraled and continued,
Mhm.
which is surprising for me to hear.
Yeah, yeah. It'll be interesting to see the future. But moving on to the evergreen stuff, I think this is a good point because Marvel stuff, who knows? Maybe December we'll find out. Like I'm so I don't know. I was really like, okay, Olivia said we're gonna get answers in the in-flight report. And I kind of get it wasn't like the perfect form in which to answer all of our questions, but like you told me I would, and I was kind of hoping, and now it's December, and like I'm kind of done holding my breath on it. Like I guess at this point when it happens, it happens. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, the way I see Marvel Champions is that it's following in Arkham's footsteps.
Mhm.
Arkham got like a rules kind of update thing, like a frequently asked questions, and it's like, hey, here's like the beta test version of the current and legacy environment. And that was like July, so several months, ago. And now we've been told with the upcoming rules update for Marvel Champions, like December, so right around the corner. I think we're getting something similar to that. It's like some kind of
Okay.
beta environment thing is coming. So I feel like we're 4 or 5 months behind them. And I wonder if like halfway through next year, we'll get a new Marvel core set announced. I'm still kind of wondering if we will. We might not, but I wonder if all the Marvel stuff is like 4 to 6 months, if not more, like
That
behind
makes
Arkham.
sense. Yeah.
That's my kind of working theory.
You're saying my favorite words right now. Core Box 2.0 for Marvel Champions. This is a hill I don't know if I'll die on it, but I will get severely wounded on this hill because I think it needs a second core box just for the rules sake and just like to rebalance some things. And again, they could do it in the way that they did, in my opinion, the way that they did Arkham, where like you don't have like, Claw and Rhino and Ultron again, right? You do different scenarios, villains. You do different heroes. This allows you to
Yeah.
redesign a bunch of new heroes. So, uh, are you somewhat on the train of Core Box 2.0, or you kind of just don't care, or what?
So I love the original core set, but it does have like some really obvious identifiable problems and some
Mhm.
things that maybe could be updated. So I'm actually, you know, even if let's say I hate the idea of current environment, they don't need to reset anything. What I get in a core box is like 5 heroes and 3 scenarios for a really good price. So it's like it's quite a good deal, I think. Basically, if you like weigh up what you get in a core box compared to a hero pack, which is probably how they make their money, but that's a different story. I don't know. I don't know enough about that. But a box with 5 heroes in and 3 scenarios just sounds good to me. Um, I feel like I would very gently like my intelligence was a bit insulted when they announced the current environment and they're like, "Oh, we're not going to have to keep making expansions harder." But I'm like, Galaxy's Most Wanted was a long time ago, and it's been up and down. Like they've never done that. And then like we can leave powerful cards in the past. But like, what about Maria Hill, Nick Fury, Make the
Yeah.
Cool, all of this stuff? Like some of the most powerful cards still to this day. So I kind of feel like for a lot of the stuff they're saying to kind of like be any kind of like relevant to Marvel Champions, they do need to kind of like have a soft reset, have like a new core to build up from. It's kind of how I feel.
Yeah, I agree with that. And again, the next part of this video will cover the whole Caleb Grace thing and review all of his stuff and tier rank or whatever we want to do with it. But I feel like now that we're transitioning to it's Tony's game at this point, that he should be allowed to kind of like define the rules moving forward, right? And I'm happy that I'm assuming that he's doing the rule book for the new 1.7. I think we're on now. That will be in December. So I'm happy that he's defining that and doing that because I think he does a really good job with the rules and being more concise. But I
Yeah.
want him to like take an axe to things if he wants to. I want him to have free reign and be like, this doesn't make sense. This contradicts like blah 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 and do his thing. And then I think he should be allowed to do a core box that is just like this is our new way of doing things. Because I've said this in the past that for me, in my opinion, that they're kind of getting away from the attack events of 3 for 8, right? The Spider-Man swinging web kick is still an
Hmm.
powerful card that we kind of base a lot of things off of. And it's obvious they don't want to do that basic thing anymore because they did it for so long, it feels like. And so much of the new design is much more interesting at, 2 for 4 damage. But if you have this, it also does this damage or it does that. Like, that's a lot of fun and really cool. So I'm hoping that that will allow him to keep going in that space.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting. I had it said when the current thing was announced, it's like new designers, they should be allowed to kind of redo their game. In my head, I've like invested all these years and money into the old game, and I kind of don't want it like torn apart and like
Mhm.
this and that. But at the same time, when Tony came in and fixed the rules, it was such an improvement. I was genuinely so mad at like the 1.4 rules that we just had forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever. I was so mad at that, and he came in and it's like, wow, half the game now suddenly works properly.
Yeah.
um, and then like 1.6 was better than that.
Mm.
So I like what he's done with the rules, and there are some, even I play this game so much. I do a lot of like nerdy analysis videos. I still have rules questions all the time. And I'm like trying to remember how does this one weird thing work with this weird thing in this weird way that sort of has a timing chart but maybe doesn't.
Mhm.
But then there's this one exception. These little things. So any kind of like simplification of the rules that doesn't like greatly reduce gameplay possibilities, I would be really up for that. But like you say, rebuilding the game from the ground up. Um, Slightly hesitant. I don't feel like they need to suddenly print cards that are like way more powerful than swinging
Sure.
web kicks
Yeah.
or way weaker, but definitely kind of like more interesting. I don't know if the new core set needs to go like wildly more complex, but I
Mm.
liked a lot of Tony's designs. Even designs that some people don't. Like, I'm just gonna guess you hate Falcon. I'm pretty sure you are not a Falcon person,
Correct. Fact check true.
but I, but I, but I actually quite like Falcon, and that kind of thing. So I'm a big fan of his hero design. So hoping for good things.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally with his design, like I've always equated it because I love baseball, so I've always equated everything to baseball. And for me, Tony is that power hitter that like, man, when he hits that home run, like when he has X-23, oh God, yes. Like give me more of that all day, every day. It's some of the best stuff I've ever played. And then yeah, when I get Falcon, I'm like, okay, that was a strikeout, and that wasn't fun. I did not enjoy that. But again, we have so many heroes now that's like, I don't care. Like if it strikes out, quote unquote, for me, like, but like you love it, cool. Like I don't have to play Falcon all the time. It's not like we're back in, like you said, Guardians Most Wanted days where it's just like, oh my god, we got a box and nothing is good and everything's miserable, and now I don't have anything, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. Like I started playing during the Galaxy's Most Wanted wave, and the amount of like I could play all the heroes, play them in different aspects. Nowadays, like if I want to play every hero, I've got to do like over 60 games, which is crazy to like keep familiar and keep on top of stuff and that kind of thing. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what they do because like yeah, we have so much different to play, and if something's not so good, fine. But if they're kind of like moving away from the old stuff existing, I don't know. Like they talked about going over and reusing old ideas in new ways, but
Mhm.
I'm curious how I still expect. I can't imagine Tony's gonna like completely like reuse something, and his
Yeah.
designs tend to be on the more complex side than like say Caleb's, for example. So I feel like we're gonna see a lot of interesting stuff. I'm gonna be quietly optimistic.
Yeah, I agree. Tony does a really good job of just like doing things that I've never really seen before. Like, okay, Winter Soldier for Caleb is a great hero. I enjoy it, but it's not like he's doing anything amazing. He's just it's not mechanically amazing or anything super interesting,
Mm.
but it's a hero I love. Versus Tony, he's doing these things that are like I have to sit here and think for a bit because what he's doing is a little more complex than what I'm used to, and not in a bad way. I like that they had that back and forth. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could say like Marvel Champions is a puzzle, and Caleb's building characters that work within that, whereas Tony's almost introducing a different puzzle or like a new
Mm,
dynamic, something like that. A lot of the time, like I think he did Jubilee, and I feel like that's his most straightforward hero. And then I look at all the other heroes, and like the average complexity is just like on a different level, which some people might like, might like them more than others. But I quite enjoy it, and a lot of them are like good enough that you don't have to play perfectly to have a good
right.
experience.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, so I'm going to throw a curveball at you for a second. If they do a new core box, and let's say it's the five heroes and whatnot, do they have a fifth hero with the pool aspect and do a true five aspects in it?
I think if they do a fifth aspect, it might be determination or something different.
Ooh,
I don't think they'll go back to Deadpool like in the core box. I think it's too weird. But I would, I'd like more pool stuff, but I think
yeah,
it's too weird. I'm too boring. I think no.
that's fair. I like that was my big complaint with pool aspect. Like I'm not a big fan of it, but now at this point, like I'll play with it a little bit, but like I want more because I feel like I'm running the same like nine cards from it over and over and over.
Since it came out, I've had the impression that they could use basic cards to like buff a lot of the pool
Yeah.
stuff that people don't like. Like just make one hero that interacts with like bad icons, and you run those basic cards for him, and you run them with pool, that kind of thing.
Hmm.
Something on those lines, maybe, um, would be
Yeah.
like first thing in my head. But yeah, I don't know. I'm curious what they do with a new core. I've heard a lot about Fantastic Four, four heroes, that kind of thing. But I feel like if there's a core set without Spider-Man, it's just a downgrade from the original core set.
No, that's fair, and that's the biggest like pushback with the community against me is like they wouldn't do just Fantastic Four and whatever, and I understand that argument. It makes a lot of sense to me. I don't think they'll also pool like one X-Men, one Avenger, one Guardian. Like I don't think it'll be that spread out either. Because I mean, the core box at the end of the day was all Avengers. They're just very different Avengers, right? It's a very diverse
Hmm.
group. So yeah, I'm interested in what it could be if they do the reprinted like Captain America in it. I still think it makes more sense to sell as a hero pack because you make more money. But then I thought that with Daredevil too, and yet they threw him in the
Yeah.
box. I'm like, the rules are out the window as far as I'm concerned now.
I wonder if they knew Daredevil was going to come out after the new environment and they wanted like a real like safe box or
Yeah.
something to grab people. I do think if you've got a boss against Fisk, which it looks like from the artwork, like having Daredevil there makes a much bigger impact than anyone else in that wave. So, I
Mm,
think they kind of did this with Sinister Motives. I feel like Miles Morales
yeah.
and like Gwen Stacy were like more known slash popular than Ironheart and Spider Ham.
Ah, Spider-Ham, the GOAT. He's so incredibly good. I love him.
We wonder where you'll rank him.
We'll see, we'll see. So, all right, was there anything else from the in-flight report that, like, caught your eye or that you were thinking about, or the Daredevil stuff?
There probably is, but I don't know if I remember it right now. Sorry, guys. I don't know. I really like the lineup of heroes. I feel like Echo is the one that people know the least. Is maybe the least exciting in general. That's kind of the consensus I've seen. But I looked her up. She's got some like cool stuff. Like, she looks like she'd have a very interesting. She looks like a character that's perfect for Tony to do something weird
Yeah.
with. So I am actually kind of excited about that.
Yeah, it was funny because everyone's like, "Echo, this is terrible. Why would you put Echo in there?" And, like, for me, it's like, again, because 'cause I'm not a theme guy, I'm a mechanics guy. It's like, man, if he could do some weird stuff because he can't, like, offend the base of Echo fans, then yeah, let's do it, Tony. Why not?
I love that.
All right, so now I wanna get into now that Caleb is finished, and I understand that when we're doing this, there's still a few products left that Caleb hasn't come out with yet with Hercules and Wonder Man. We're assuming it's designed by him, we don't know for sure, but I think it's a
I
sa
also I also need to say Civil War hasn't arrived in the UK yet.
Oh my god, yeah. It took me a while, and you guys are just like, "You'll never get it."
We're currently in the saddest race ever with Canada to see who can get it like first or last.
Well, it's funny because 'cause we're all losing to Australia right now because Australia has already gotten the, Vision and She-Hulk side pack.
Wow. I don't know if I'm seeing that. Hopefully I'm seeing that before Daredevil.
Yeah, right. All right, so we figure we'll go through this stuff, and one of the things that when I was looking this up is one of my running jokes with Marvel Champions is that in the rules or on cards, that like there's not consistent wording on things, and it drives me nuts and insane. And it turns out this is actually the same case with their rule books and all their little hero packs because trying to look up who the lead designer is really weird sometimes because sometimes it's Caleb Grace and Michael Boggs. And sometimes it's Michael Boggs with Caleb Grace. What does that mean? And then sometimes it's Caleb Grace with help from Michael Boggs. I was like, oh my God, in their own rules, they don't have consistent wording on half this stuff.
Well, do you want to know something funny? I think from a couple of different interviews and things, I think it was maybe when Caleb was retiring, he was talking about Venom and he said he like congratulated Michael Boggs on a great design. And Michael Boggs said, no, that was your design. And I found a quote very recently from Michael Boggs saying it was a 50-50 effort. And nobody knows who's done what or what's credited, which I think is really funny.
It's funny because even when talking to Caleb and like I would bring up like old heroes and whatnot, he'd be like, "Yeah, I kind of remember making that." And I was like, "I get it, dude. You're so far ahead of where we are now, and like you're just like trying to get this stuff out and be on time and whatnot." So,
Yeah.
so we'll do, or I'll do my best trying to call out what he was co-listed with and when he was just listed by himself. If I get these slightly wrong, audience, I apologize. You can call me out in the comments and be like, D20 is wrong about everything again. And that's fine. So I figure we'll just kind of go in order. And I don't know how you like to do your tier ranking. If you want to do like S, A, B, C, D, F, or what do you enjoy? Or you could just throw random letters at things too. I'm fine with that.
We could have like C tier when he's co-lead, L when he's like the main lead, something like that. No,
Yeah.
I mean I'm on your channel. I'm happy to go with like some spicy rankings or keep it to like S, A, B, and C. I feel like I would keep it pretty straightforward.
All right, and I figure to do this properly, we should actually probably have two separate rankings with this. Of one of enjoyment, because enjoyment will be different than either power or like how good it is in general. If you're fine with that.
Yeah, whatever you want to do.
Oof, okay, you're agreeing to so much. I love it.
Yeah, when I go into a D20 like stream video whatever, I'm kind of like I'm going on a roller coaster that I don't know where it's going,
It's
and
the
that's
best.
I'm just here for it.
All right, so let's begin with the very beginning and the core box. Let's talk about obviously he co-designed this with Michael Boggs, but what as far as fun, how much fun do you have with the core box?
I actually have a ton of fun with the core box. I like all five heroes. I like two out of the three scenarios, and like I do appreciate Rhino. I think it's quite a good tutorial villain
Mm,
outside of a little thing called the main threshold for solo play.
mm,
I don't know what happened there. And I like the mod sets if I'm honest.
mhm.
Again, bomb scare, whatever. It's like a tutorial one in my opinion. Well, I like all the other ones, Legions of Hydra, I still think is like holds up really well. Still a very difficult one to this day. The hard villains like Ultron still holds up as a very hard villain to this
Yeah.
day. Everything holds up pretty well. Certain aspect cards too good, certain aspect cards maybe not as good, but generally most things are very very usable. So I think they actually did really well with it.
All right, perfect. S, A, B, fun tier.
Ooh, I don't think they peaked at the core set.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say A personally, but I could see B. It's really hard to try and envision everything just from one person. Though, it's like some things are cut out. But what are you feeling?
So I think there's two ways to look at this, which is what makes it so tough. If I look at it from a a vacuum of when this game first came out and all you had was the core box, it's like a and you're a solo player, it's like a B tier because I feel like, was it She-Hulk was so misunderstood when she first came out of, like, a lot of stuff happens to Alter Ego, and, like, everything else is, like, hero side, you're doing all this stuff. So, a lot in the beginning was just, like, not understood. Like, She-Hulk was so misunderstood, I feel like, in the beginning. Obviously, some people, like,
Mhm.
grasped it right away, but I feel like the general community, like, didn't, and now she has a larger appreciation. Same with Tony, like or Tony Stark, um, where we needed more tech stuff and to like
Yeah.
really make him going. So like it wasn't that he was bad, but it was kind of weird at first. And like, to your point with Rhino, like solo was really tough with him, but like I still like him multiplayer, like two, three, four players. I still think he makes a lot of sense. And the rest of the cards I think were pretty good, and the heroes were good. So I think in that vacuum, it's lower at like a B. But now that we have so much other stuff, it like pushes it up to an A. Like you could just fill out so much more.
Yeah, like I can name downsides with it. I think the protection cards are good, but not good like in that combination. They needed more
Yeah.
stuff to really let them breathe. But it's the original product, so it's been like hyper analyzed. Everything's built off it. I think with so little experience with the game and what it would become, I think a lot of stuff is like very timeless,
Hmm.
which I think speaks really highly of it.
Yeah, and the fact that they added like a modular set into it with Doomsday Chair, and this community was so hesitant of like not using the recommended stuff in the beginning. And like I'm guilty of that too. I just was like, no, that's what they said, that's what they recommended, so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm happy they added that in because it gave it so much more. And to, like Doomsday Chair is still like really rough nowadays to
Oh
deal with.
yeah, yeah. Like I love doing mod set stuff. You've probably seen like or at least heard
Mhm.
of some of it, and like yeah, Doomsday Chair still ranks up there. Still a big challenge.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so the next thing that he worked on was the infamous Green Goblin hero pack. So officially, Michael Boggs is listed as the lead this time with Nate French and Caleb Grace. So he co-worked it. I'm gonna say Caleb did the best parts of it, so I can give him the benefit of the doubt.
I'm pretty sure Michael Boggs did mutagen formula, as a heads
Don't
up.
tell me that.
I was looking through quotes from him very recently. It came up on my Discord server, but I'm sure Caleb contributed to that as well.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So, what are your thoughts about risky business and mutagen formula?
Risky business, I think, is full of good ideas, but maybe flawed execution.
Mm,
Mutagen formula is like a very, really timeless, like classic scenario. It's not complicated, but everything is just kind of fun. There's always something happening. And I love fight minions. I feel like minions my favorite enemy type, but like favorite treachery like encounter card.
mhm.
So a big scenario full of like different ones of those, especially popping in from like boost effects as well, or treachery cards bringing different amounts. Like a little bit dynamic, hard to predict, and I really like that. So huge thumbs up to Mutagen. Risky business needs more work.
All right. So, if we have to average out the two, then fun wise, what are you ranking that?
I mean, if you got to average it, it's almost like S or A, and then like whatever our lowest tier is. If I'm going to be honest, like if I had to rank all the scenarios, um, so like I don't know, maybe B.
Okay. Yeah, that's about where I would have it. And it's funny too, because like I agree, Mugen formula is just is goaded. I think it's one of the best scenarios they ever did. I think it's phenomenal.
Mm.
Risky business, I don't hate as much as other people because I'll play on an expert and just throw in like some tough mod sets into it, and it's or one tough mod set. And it's not as bad, but I definitely get it. Like it's it's rough at times.
If it takes effort to like make it fun and playable, like I don't want to have to like make it. I want it to be fun originally, and then you can like improve on it, kind of thing, rather than have to like try and adjust it. So
Mhm.
yeah.
All right. So the next thing that he did was good old Captain America, and he's the only one listed on it. So
Ooh. I remember seeing old interviews with Caleb, and like people said, you better not mess up this hero. It's just like, okay, make them a little bit stronger here. like,
Yeah,
you
right.
know, Captain America is such an interesting character. He's like still like one of the most neutral characters. Like he can kind of do anything. His hero like cards are good enough to like get him over the finish line, but you can also have like a real aspect driven kind of like game plan. Um, I've always found Captain America, and I know a lot of people won't like this. A, because he's Captain America, and B, because people just like playing as him. Maybe C, because you might have spent a lot of money on him recently if you got him recently. I've always found him a little bit like boring. Like
Mm.
there's no like big dynamic thing here. He's just kind of like quite a neutral base. I do enjoy playing him, but he never grabs me.
I get that because a lot of it to me is just like it doesn't matter what I do with Captain America aspect wise. Like he just does everything so well. Like nothing amazing, but like does everything well that like I'm just
Mm,
kind of not that I'm just using his cards because I'm using the aspect cards too and I enjoy that. But it's just like one of those weird things that because there's not anything that's so crazy interesting about him that I'm not like going over the top to like, oh man, that was the coolest combo in the world. It's I'm using the serum to play an old what is it the attack card heroic strike so I could deal 6 damage
yeah.
and stun an enemy. That's like what I'm leaning into over and over. And then I have an extra card because I'm terrible at planning things, so I always have an extra card. So throw it away, ready him up. Let's do that.
Yeah, I mean that whole mechanic where you discard a card to ready up, I think that's like already forgiving, so it's good for new players. But you can also
Yeah.
like lean into it and like have a readying build that really embraces it. So I think in some ways, like I think it is a kind of a good design in a way, but it just doesn't interest me. I think Captain America is fun because Marvel Champions is fun, but
Mm,
I don't know what's fun about Captain America that isn't just kind of like fun for Marvel Champions overall. If that makes any kind of sense.
it does. It does. All right, fun tier. Where do you rank them?
Fun tier. Ooh, I'm gonna go for I'm gonna go for me personally. It's gonna be like maybe like a low B.
Oh, you're gonna upset so many people. I love it. I love it.
It's my opinion. It's my opinion.
No, I love it. Yeah, because a lot of people put him in S tier and like that he's powerful and whatnot, and or when they do the strength stuff, and I get that. But yeah, for me, I mean, like he's maybe A for fun, but then I get like really bored of him really quick. Like if I play like 4 or 5 games in a row, I'm like, I'm good for a while, bro. Like I don't need to play this more.
Yeah,
All right,
I do think most people like Cap more than me.
that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, I'd probably put him in the A, but if I played 4 games in a row, I'm dropping him down to B with you, so I get that. All
Gotcha.
right. Next scenario pack we have is Wrecking Crew. Nate French and Caleb worked on this together. Good old Wrecking Crew. What are your thoughts?
What's the lowest tier we have here?
F, or we can have a W for Wrecking Crew.
I don't know. Wrecking Crew again is like risky business. It's got such good ideas, but it's like a bit ahead of its time because it's got such big flaws in it.
Mhm.
I did like a evolution of villains video, and if you look at Four Horsemen, like they take so much stuff from it and do it better. And I know Four
Yeah,
Horsemen is not to everyone's taste, but I think it's a lot better than Wrecking Crew.
yeah.
I personally actually like it a lot, but Wrecking Crew, the whole way the schemes work is really weird. It also has a very distinct lack of minions, which I love minions. So like, I want more people to hurt. So that's the downside. But you can't modify it in a modular game.
Hmm.
And it doesn't even as a product doesn't come with mod sets. So it
Yeah,
doesn't add anything to your existing collection except someone else to fight. When everything else increases the customizability. So I gotta whatever metric you rank it on, I gotta put it last because the flaws are just too big.
I get that, and especially since it was one of the or earlier packs, and that everyone was playing it, that they figured out, okay, this is the proper order to defeat them, and then once you like see that order and you understand like this is like who you should go for first, and then second and third, like then your brain is like, I'm not. I'm just going through processes at this point, right? Like I'm not fighting the
Mm,
wrecking crew. I'm just like I'm going through A first, then this B, then this C, then this D, and I know I will win because of that. So
mm.
I'm with you. I rank it near the bottom, unfortunately, and I like it at times.
Hmm.
Mm, but it's near the bottom.
Here's the thing, even like the worst stuff in Marvel Champions, maybe there's one scenario in particular I would maybe say no to, but like generally everything, if I'm saying like I'm ranking it low, sometimes it's just I like it less than everything else, right? Like it's still
Yeah.
good things to be found in, you know, most things.
Well, exactly. And I'm a firm believer of if there's an S tier on something, to average everything out, there has to be an F tier. Like because the only way
Yeah.
that exists is in the comparison with everything else. And that doesn't make it the worst thing and doesn't make it trash. It just makes it not S, right? So
Yeah.
okay, Thor. This is just a Caleb design allegedly. So,
Ooh,
I've made you go first a bunch of times, so I'll go first on this. Um,
okay.
so Thor, I at the time, I like the idea because I'm kind of with you. I like minion slaying. I like
Mhm.
aggression, especially. That's one of my favorite aspects. So he did a lot right, but there was a lot of weaknesses with like removing threat, and we kind of Defender of the Nine Realms, like when they kept changing what discard means and whatnot, and trying to figure all
Mm.
that out. Like that got kind of tough and it got weird. And then as Valkyrie came out and some other stuff that like helped his kit, like he just kept getting more fun and interesting for me. So for me in the beginning, he started at like a CD kind of there, and now it's moved up to like a CB somewhere in there because of everything after the fact.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. Like when I started playing, it was Galaxy's Most Wanted, and I didn't play a lot of four. And then we got the Mad Titan's Shadow, which is when Valkyrie came along. Not long after that, we got Limitless Stamina, and I think before that, I didn't have a lot to do with four. Um, I will say, I think the more time goes on, the more I play four, the less I actually kind of like him because we've got so many
Mm,
other characters now that interact with minions. We've got a Winter Soldier,
yeah.
Tiger's about to arrive here. Rocket has grown on me over time, I think more than 4, which has kind of left 4 in a weird place for me. So I would maybe thinking like low C tier,
Mm.
and I don't want to give away a future ranking, but I have more to say on 4, I think, as we go further on.
All right.
But I think 4's cards, there's maybe more interesting stuff to use with him, like the Radiating, Limited Stamina, Bifrost. But I think his cards are just quite boring.
Mm, okay. I think
Mm.
I'm excited for you. I'm actually really excited for you to get Tigra whenever you finally get it because she has just changed everything in my mind about minion slaying for me. And it's just to me, it's like peak design. Like, and we can talk about it later, but just the more and more we talk about it, I'm so excited for you to get that.
I'm excited. I heard from somebody earlier that one store, like, near London maybe has had they're gonna get it maybe next week, probably, hopefully, so fingers crossed.
There's a shot. All right, so next we have Black Widow, which is really an MJ design, but they list it as Caleb and MJ. So I'm gonna give 90% credit to MJ, and we'll say Caleb was there to say like, "Good job, MJ, you did great." Uh, um, but since he is listed, we'll talk a bit about it. So, what are your thoughts with Black Widow?
I have actually listened to old interviews, and I'm pretty sure while it is, like, an MJ-driven design, Caleb, like, kinda showed her the ropes of, like, making it, so, Caleb definitely had, like, a guiding hand, even if a lot of
Mm,
the ideas, I think, came from MJ. It's kind of my impression from
mhm.
remembering, like, a four-year-old podcast or something. Uh, so, yeah. Um Black Widow is a character I like on paper more than I like in practice.
Mhm.
I consider myself quite like almost like a controller. I build up my board a bit, kind of like almost consistency over craziness player. But it turns out I don't like a lot of defensive characters or like passive, like preparation characters
Okay.
in a weird way. There's kind of like a limit. And I feel like for me, Black Widow is too much about like slowing things down and not enough about doing stuff in my
Mm,
superhero game where I want to like something a bit more like dynamic and like out there. A lot of recent cards have helped her a lot though, but I think she's just fundamentally she should be my style, but she isn't. She just doesn't click for me like the way most characters do. So I feel like idea wise, and I'm kind of saying this about Risky Business and even Wrecking Crew, the ideas I think were better than the execution. The thing that annoys me the most is that all these preparations don't work unless you're in hero form, but she wants to go alter egos. Like half the
yeah.
time, if I want to benefit from that, they're just not doing anything. So I'm playing these slow preventative cards that aren't even valid to use. Or I'm in hero form, I'm losing out on a lot of like the value of the character. But ready for a fight, it's kind of like now the only way I play her. So
Mhm. Mhm.
if I rate her by that card with that card, she kind of like jumps up a whole tier. But I'm gonna upset people and say C tier.
That's fair. That's fair. I do agree with you that I think if they were to redo this, a lot of the prep cards would be just action or interrupt cards at this point, or
Hmm.
responses. Because I agree. Like she wants to go alter ego, but you're literally punished for going to alter ego, which is like the worst feeling, right? I mean, how many times have you had a game where you just have like four prep cards lined up and you're like, bro, I'm doing well, and then they could have triggered, but I had to go to alter ego because you want me to as a game. I get it. That's really really rough. My other
Yeah.
weird pet peeve, not pet peeve, but my other weird thing is because of how the rules are with like Dance of Death, right? Because now we have three different attacks, and now you get and Retaliate is my nemesis in life. Well, maybe Shadow of the Past is, but my second nemesis is Retaliate. And the fact that like I'm getting Retaliate three times on a card that's dealing 6 damage, like feels bad.
Hmm. Yeah, there's that. That doesn't come up too much for me, but definitely, the way some cards like it's one attack, but there's three instances, and then there's another card which is three attack. Like it is a kind of whole confusing kind of thing. I feel like I kind of wish they picked one way for all of the cards to
Yeah.
work. I do. There's one more thing I want to say about
Mhm.
Black Widow, and I needed to talk to you about this for a long time. This has been building up. There's a kind of a vengeance in my heart that's had to like grow because when they changed the rules, they changed the way Widows Bite interacted with Quick Strike, and I had
Mhm.
one opinion, and just a small little YouTube channel over here, this giant channel, a lot more subscribers, you came and said, "No, this is better." And I wanted to say for the record, I kind of hated how all the quick strike stun, what goes first happened in the old rules, but I didn't feel like that card needed to become any weaker, if that makes
Mm.
sense.
Yeah, I think with the Widow's Bite stuff for me, it was more about consistency and making it
Yeah.
easier for people. Because I understood your point. I think for me, it was just like the way I've always looked at this game, and maybe and it's probably not even the right way to look at it, but I just do is because I think about when I play with my wife, and I want it to make sense for someone like her, where she just like she's not in it like we are, right? So it wants to like work consistent in all aspects for her, but I get
Hmm.
it, dude. I get it. Um,
Yeah, no, I generally do agree with that.
well, hopefully, when Tony takes a hatchet to the rules, all of this will be fixed, and we will be fine now.
Maybe Widow's Bite will change again in the timing.
God, it's just like the card that never is consistent, and then like everyone's like, "Well, maybe I'll play Black Widow again." Maybe this is their goal is to like just drive Black Widow sales.
Maybe.
But yeah, for me, for fun, I still because I like that there's more prep cards coming out and different stuff that like I think she's a low A, high B for me in fun. I still enjoy playing her. There is that weird feeling, I agree 100% of like you want to flip down and whatnot, and that like kind of holds it back a bit. And Dance of Death, I still have weird feelings about that card. I don't know. I feels like every time I use it, I'm not using it like I'm paying three, and I feel like again, three should be really powerful, and I feel like I'm doing like these really weird weak attacks with it. I feel like it should be a 2 cost event. I don't know. Maybe that's a me thing.
Yeah, it's a little pricey for its damage. It's like the same as Psylocke's Flurry of Blades, but she has so much more money that Black Widow's Dance of
Yeah.
Death feels like so much worse.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Flurry of Blades can also confuse, so yeah, I guess Dance of Death, you know.
Yeah. I got it.
Yeah.
Okay, Doctor Strange. Caleb Grace is the
Oh,
lead. For some reason, I wrote code lead, but he is the lead because it is all that's listed on there. So good old Doctor Strange. What are your thoughts about him?
I think our thoughts on him are going to be pretty similar from past discussions and stuff I've
Mhm.
seen. So no big surprises here for your regular watchers for me. But like, I don't like him. Like, he was the second hero I ever played in this game. My friend showed me. I played Black Panther. Then he's like, "Who do you want to play?" Pick Doctor Strange. And like, we just started winning everything. I'm
Yeah.
like, "Wow, I've got really good at this game." And he very quickly realized that actually, just doing these invocations every turn. And his cards outside of the invocations are kind of awkward and like not that interactive, I think. So like
Hmm.
it's you're like playing the same cards over and over that are maybe a little too good. And then you've got these other cards which I don't really want much to do with.
Yeah.
So like neither direction is doing it for me.
I agree with you with that because you was funny too. Is he came out. Well, he came out, I think, around COVID or a little before COVID, whichever it was. And I remember I was watching a lot of Team Covenant at the time, and they were doing Doctor Strange and I think Scarlet Witch together, and they were doing heroic like three or something insane. And then Strange was just like cleaning up the board, like just like, yep, we're doing this, we're doing this, and like it felt like Team Covenant now just didn't want to play the game anymore because he just trivialized everything, and that's my biggest issue with Doctor Strange. I know people are like, you don't just play the invocation deck. And it's true. You don't just play it. But that's because I have resources in my hand that are extra. I'm like, well, I might as well play another card and throw some allies out there to help me punch or take a hit for me. But it's a super basic formula that once you solve, and it will not take you long to solve, you're just kind of running through the motions with it over and over.
Yeah, I feel like, aside from readying, there's not a lot of other deep interaction with anything he does. Like there's the Domino leadership ally that can move like wild to the top of his deck for Magic Blast, so that hits more stuff. But even that's like, one aspect, one card to interact with like
Yeah.
his two copies or something. It's not like super engaging. I feel like those first few times I did play Doctor Strange, I actually did quite enjoy him a lot. But fast forward like 5 months, and he was already like super low for me, and he just hasn't gone anywhere with like several years more content. Just not
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah, so for me, for fun, I may surprise people, and I'm only gonna put him at a D tier because we're comparing it with like Wrecking Crew and whatnot. And I think like if you made me choose between playing Wrecking Crew and playing Doctor Strange, okay. I'll play Strange. Like I will do that. Don't make me play Doctor Strange against Wrecking Crew now. Please don't do that.
Okay, question for you. Am I
Mhm.
rating the aspect cards as part of this or not? Because that could have a big influence. Because his hero pack, like the
Mm,
cards he comes with,
they're
are
good.
amazing.
They're really good. No, rank it based on fun of actually playing Strange. Excuse me.
I I'm gonna start off critical. I do. I'm feeling negative. Who we got like in the like the bottom tier? It's like just Wrecking Crew so far, right?
Just Wrecking Crew and Risky Business if you divide the two. Yeah.
If we divide the two, I'm gonna put Doctor Strange in there. I feel like I don't want to spoil anything, but he might be the hero I put the lowest. So I feel like he deserves that honor.
Ooh, that's interesting. That is interesting.
mm, I'm doubting myself, but I'm gonna stick with it.
No, and I will say too, to kind of agree to your point, that like his aspect cards in there, like you never not buy his hero pack if you get the opportunity. Don't spend $200. For the love of God, don't spend $200. But if you get it for like $30 or something, his aspect cards, I agree with you, are phenomenal, and there's staple cards in there like that you absolutely want.
It's crazy that all his protection cards were like almost all extremely good, but then the back of the pack cards like Skilled Strike and the Iron Man ally also really like important cards for a lot of like other aspect builds. So
Yeah.
everything was just good.
I know. It's actually kind of, it's such a weird pack. It really is. Because then I know I get yelled at because people are like, oh, so you're saying don't buy Doctor Strange. I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I don't enjoy Doctor Strange. But yes, his aspect cards are phenomenal and you should buy it for that alone.
Yeah.
All right, so next we have Rise of Red Skull, and this is our first like box. So I know we've been talking a lot of heroes and whatever, but like just ranking the box right as a whole on this. And if you want to divide it, you can for sure. But this is a Caleb Grace and Michael box thing. Okay, so I'll go first on this one. I love this box to this day. I think this is a phenomenal box. I do not love Hawkeye as much as other people love Hawkeye. They really love Hawkeye. And I try, brother, I try to make him work, but I just can't. Spider Woman, absolutely love. I think she's really cool and interesting. Crossbones, I don't mind. I think he's fine. Absorbing Man's Absorbing Man. I think we all know Absorbing Man at this point and just what he is. Taskmaster, I don't mind. I like. But Zola, phenomenal. Red Skull, phenomenal. Mod sets in it. I have to scroll down to look at them all, but they were all pretty decent in it, or at least good enough. And the campaign system I liked in it. I thought it was very, very basic, but I'm a basic guy. I really like basic things. So I like that overall. So for me, as far as fun goes, I rank it an A.
Yeah, Rise of Red Skull is such a good product. The campaign, I don't like campaigns in the Marvel Champions in
Mhm.
general. And what I like about this campaign is it's not very intrusive. It just kind of lets your heroes do more of what they want, and you kind of just play. And so I actually kind of like that it doesn't, that it is basic as well. I like that too. Um, Absorbing Man, yeah, it's a low point. I do quite like Crossbones. Hawkeye, I don't know who these Hawkeye believers are, but I'm so sorry. I think he's one of the most forgettable heroes, I'm
Mhm.
afraid. Um, I feel like, yeah, if he disappeared from my collection, I don't feel like I would lose that much. I do, I do love a really satisfying explosive arrow or the
Mhm.
vibranium arrow. I really do enjoy those moments, but overall, like, yeah, I could pass on him. Spider Woman, S tier,
Yeah. Yeah.
amazing hero. And yeah, the mod set complaints I have, like, very softly, is like there aren't that many compared to most other expansions out there. They used
Okay.
actually a couple of the cool ones. They use Under Attack for Zola. They use like Legions of Hydra for Crossbones and so on. And it comes with like, I don't know, 4 or 5, but a lot of the modern ones come with like 9 or 10.
Yeah.
But I like all the ones it comes with. I'm gonna put it. Where did you put it? Was it A?
A for fun, yeah.
I still think there's so much good in it, and it like aged incredibly well. Like the kid
Yeah.
stuff in it is like so good. Um, ooh, A or B, A or B. What expansions are coming up? I will softly say B,
Okay. If
but
you have to
I'm okay
revisit.
with A. Hmm.
If you see some the future expansion, you go, oh god, maybe I should have moved that. I get it because we'll have some coming out for sure. Um, okay, cool. So Kang, Caleb Grace, lead designer. I do not like Kang. I do not enjoy
What?
it. I do not enjoy it. I don't enjoy it as a multiplayer scenario. I don't enjoy it as a solo scenario. I have tried and I have tried. It is it's too long. I don't want to play something that long. It's just it's like a almost a 2 hour game with a two-player person, and they're kind of like doing their thing, so I can't really help them, and especially when I'm playing with like a newer player, and I'm like, I don't know, good luck, buddy, hopefully you figure it out over there, and I'm doing my thing, and then like all these different things happen. I just the only thing that it has that I really enjoy, and I have to make sure that it does, yes it does, is it has a dinosaur in it. I'm a child, so I like dinosaurs and I think they're cool, and I like the mod sets to add into different things when you can. um but for me, it's like a C tier and fun.
Oh, I've got a lot of thoughts about what you said. I want to touch on the dinosaur first.
The
Me like
important thing.
dinosaur. Uh, that mod set also has aliens and stuff, like ancient
Mhm.
warriors. Like I don't know, it's got like all of those could be toys. All of those are fun. Just gonna say it. Um, I do like all three mod sets. The King one's slightly weird, but I actually do like enjoy using
Yeah.
that. And Acronauts, if you want to make things harder, that's like one of the best in the game
Yeah.
still. Um, I actually love the scenario. I will say it is quite long. For me, it's an occasional play. It's like an
Okay.
epic showdown when there's time. It's not like I go to this and I play it all the time kind of thing. So I feel like it has a purpose. And with that in mind, I like it a lot. I do like that it splits you up. I think that's a really fun twist. And it's always fun to see like when the aggression player can't defeat their like mini king, like mini boss
Yeah.
first, and like the justice player does, and like, well, I guess I've done my job. I'll come and help you now. And I think that whole kind of dynamic is funny. In solo play, I still like it. I don't think it loses out in solo play. I just think it doesn't gain as much, if that makes sense. I
Yeah.
still get like a random kind of bit in the middle that like I have to adapt to. So I still kind of like that. Um, for me, I think I'm gonna put it in A tier. I really like it. I actually really like it. I've always liked it. So
Nice.
if I had to like, yeah, if I had to criticize it, you can game a little bit of the second stage. I normally don't
Mhm.
like to lose and let bad things happen, though, so I naturally don't try and let that happen. But you can totally that is a like a kind of a flaw how forgiving failure is at the middle. Um, but other than that, I really like it.
That's fair. That's fair. Our first real big disagreement. I love it.
Yeah, there's gonna be more.
Oh, I'm sure there will be. All right. So next we have Ant Man. This is Michael Boggs with Caleb Grace. Again, before they listed everyone together. Now in this cycle or this wave, they now list people with people. Don't know what that means exactly because wording isn't consistent. But let's just say he had a 50-50 thing with Ant Man. So I'll let you start with Ant Man.
I really like Ant Man. I think he's like he's quite simple, but he's quite fun.
Mm.
I like enlarging and then damage happens. Like that's just form changing and something immediately happens is just a little thing he does that I feel like some of the other heroes haven't had, and I kind of missed. Even if it's just like a tiny thing, I just feel like it makes you feel like something has changed. More than now this card is on this other side.
Mm.
Also, like it gets the unfolding thing for the first time was pretty
Yeah.
awesome. Um, I don't want to rate too many of them too high. I feel like the last month or so, I've cooled down slightly on Ant Man, not in a big way. But there's just so many heroes now. I might softly say B tier, but I could be persuaded for A tier. Like whenever I play him, I have fun.
Mm. I'm gonna agree with you with B tier. I think he's a B tier fun hero for me. I think what I get bored of really fast is that to me, oh god, is this the case? I think this is the case. Maybe there's like one other case of this. This was one of the first times in this game I felt like I don't care about my aspect cards because I just want to constantly be flipping with him and running like Giant Stomp or Hive Mind or whatever. Like I care so much about his cards that I will throw away everything else because it does not matter. And that expands to me with a lot of the aspect stuff is like it's there to support him a little bit, but like I can almost throw together any deck. Like I could just pick 35 or 25 random cards, and probably I'll do all right with Ant-Man because he's just so good at what he does.
Maybe. I disagree slightly. I mean, I
Mhm,
don't feel like his identity cards are so powerful, you have to play them over everything else. But I
mhm,
don't feel like he has a lot of deep synergy with aspect stuff either. He feels like very neutral for me.
okay.
And I feel like I prefer heroes that pull one way or the other. And that's kind of
Mm.
what's lowered him from A for me. But I can see that. I mean, Giant Stomp is super fun. Like, if you can play it, just squash the villain. I mean, it's beautiful.
It is, it is, and I like, okay, the one thing I'll say too, which is kinda interesting, is this is why he a lot of people think, like, I hate Ant-Man, and I just rank him lower than a certain other flippy hero, um, is that the one thing I do like about him is that you can kinda do 2 different I don't want to say builds because you really should do both, but if you only wanted to, you could focus on giant or you could focus on tiny, right? With tiny, you could focus on like the army of ants. And maybe because I'm not a build out player like everyone else, that like everyone would normally do this all the time and whatever. But there's something cool about just like focusing on like, okay, army of ants, we're gonna have that, and we're gonna just like keep doing our little damage every now and again. And it's not attack or it's not yeah, it's not an attack, it's just dealing damage, so, like, you're not getting retaliated, you're not dealing with all that stuff and whatever. Like, I kinda like that you could do 2 different things if you want to. I assume most normal human beings, though, in this game would just do them anyway, and it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, I like to flip between his forms all the time. I know early game before his helmet, people like really like to stay in tiny form, but I just enjoy flipping like as much as
Mm.
possible. So I'm trying to like feed them to the end, and then I'm trying to squash them by going giant.
Alright, so next one we got is Wasp. Again, this is Michael Boggs with Caleb Grace. I'm a Wasp fan. I like Wasp. I like Wasp more than Ant-Man. I always have. I don't know. I don't know why. I think a lot of people have the issue because it works backwards from Ant-Man. It makes maybe less sense in the sense that if you're Ant-Man, you do your major damage when you're big, right? Like major damage is when you're
Mhm.
big, and that logically makes sense. Versus Wasp, like pinpoint strike is when you're tiny and you deal all your damage. And when you're big, like you could do some damage, but you're also like thwarting more, right? With giant help and whatnot. And I think that throws a
Yeah.
lot of people off. And I actually like that about her, that it's like different in that sense. And I just like the way her cards work. And I like being able to divide. It was one of the first times I felt like we could really divide up on her big side, right?
Yeah.
Remove threat however you want, deal damage however you want, kind of thing. So I really like that kind of aspect for or the way she works. So for me, she's above Ant Man, maybe not A tier, but like really high B, low A, like kind of somewhere in there for fun.
Okay, well, I'm just gonna say it. She's low C for me. I'm not a Wasp person. There's a lot of there's a lot of people that don't like Wasp. I mean, I've even done like polls on Reddit and things in times gone past. Wasp doesn't rate high in general, but there's a diehard like core of Wasp defenders, and I will
Dozens of
fight you.
us.
I
Dozens
will
of
fight
us.
you. No, like if you like her, that's great. That's amazing.
Yeah.
For me, I just don't find her cards that interesting. I think the most interesting things are on like hero form. You can divide her like attack or thwarting on like the giant
Mhm.
side, and Ultra Ego shuffling stuff back can have some fun implications. But for me, I kind of feel like she's one of those heroes. If she disappeared from my collection, I don't
Mm.
feel like I'd lose anything special. That's just kind of how I feel about it.
Ah.
So sorry, Wasp fans.
The other thing too is I think for me, because I'm not a big leadership player, and I know we haven't really gotten to aspect cards that much, but I'm not a big leadership player, and I've always been a big aggression player, and I really like her aggression cards as well
Yeah.
that came in there. So I think in my head that like boosted it for a kind of frivolous reason, because again, generally speaking, I focus on heroes, but all of a sudden now with Wasp, I'm like, oh, look at all these aspect cards. These are so great. So it was one of the first times with aggression. I was like, oh, there's some really cool stuff in here. And same with like Ironheart and Spider-Man Miles Morales allies coming out that it shouldn't boost her, but it weirdly does in my head.
That's fine. I mean, I just how Doctor Strange's pack is good. I do think
Yeah.
Wasp's pack is very good, and hopefully still available.
Yeah, yeah. I think you can get on
Maybe for
Amazon
now.
now and again for a little cheap. Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. I don't know. I don't know the status of stuff, but um, yeah, I don't dislike playing her, but I just like playing most heroes a
Sure.
lot more.
Mhm. All right. So next we have Quicksilver. Again, this is Michael Boggs with Caleb Grace. All right. What are your thoughts about Quicksilver?
Ooh, Quicksilver. He's one of my favorites when I first started, but like 6 months on, he kind of moved down. A couple years on, several years on, I guess now. He's quite a lot lower for me. I still enjoy him a lot, but I feel like his style in some ways is still distinct. Like I'll play him differently to a lot of Radiant characters. Still, like you build differently and prioritize things differently. But there's a lot of more interesting Radiant characters now,
Yeah.
and I do feel like that has dropped him. Like, oh, a Radiant kind of build. I'd rather play, X, Y, or Z. So I'm thinking maybe C tier again here.
I agree with you. He's a C for me. And I remember because I got into this game, I think around Rise of Red Skull. So I remember when he came out, when I first played him, I was like, oh my God, like this readying mechanic is so cool. It's so interesting. And as you get more and more into it, and like you said, the other heroes that come out, I'm like, I don't mind playing him. Like it's fine when I do, but he just keeps slowly dropping, like with age, I think overall.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Next one is a big one for me is Scarlet Witch. Again, Michael Boggs with Caleb Grace. I'll let you go first.
I think I know your opinions on this one. For me, I think I used to put her almost like top 10 heroes, but since more heroes have come out, she's naturally dropped down a bit, but I still like her a
Mhm.
lot. I think Hexbolt is one of my favorite cards in the game, and she's kind of Hexbolt the character almost. But
Yeah.
Hexbolt isn't boring, even though she has 4 copies. One of like the only characters in the game with 4 of a card. I think Quicksilver is actually one of the other ones that kind of mirrored each other.
Mhm.
But Hexbolt can do 3 different things and it will do 3 like things. So it has like so many variables, and you can influence it. And like the hero ability is like still random, but you pick the worst option and hope you get one of the better ones. You've got the crest, which is precise. Like I feel like those 2 things are so different but interesting to use to get like the perfect result. It makes a really fun, kind of engaging thing. Um, and chaos magic is always satisfying. I don't know. It's something about being a chaos magic sorcerer. Like it's just fun.
Mhm.
Um, and I like scaring people by shredding the encounter deck. That's also fun. I'm gonna tentatively say A here.
Okay.
I think
Yeah.
A is good.
A that's solid. I'll take A. For me to this day, she's still I don't if there's something above S, like S plus a million, she's still there for me, but it gets hard because I think some of it's nostalgia where I remember opening this pack and the whole idea of like using the encounter deck and this weird trade-off, right? Where yes, you can burn through the encounter deck and it's not the greatest thing in the world to do, but it's how you get really powerful. It's how you do these different things. Getting 2 copies of Slipping Sanity in there, like holy cow, this is new and it's different. Everything was so new and fresh feeling with her and different that
Mm.
especially at the time, I was like, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. I get over time that she would drop for a lot of people. And I think for me, it's just that it brings me back to that feeling of like the first time I really opened a pack and I was like completely blown away. And I'm living in that life still, which maybe isn't fair to newer heroes, but it's still one of those things that like to this I just love it. I love everything about her and I love it.
Yeah. I still think she's really, really fun. The only thing that I think holds her back in terms of like aging well is I don't think a lot of new aspect cards and things have like deep interaction with her. She's
Yeah,
kind of like,
agreed.
what's going to interact with Hexball? It doesn't even count as an attack or fort. It does give status cards. You can give Colossus a tough status card if you like. But it's multiplayer and it's like one thing, and you know, playing her like there's not really a fresh way to play her this year that I couldn't do the year before, and probably not the year before. That summoning spell was pretty big for her. Like Adam Warlock's Mystic cards like had an influence,
Yeah.
but they weren't like incredibly rewrite the whole like game plan kind of thing. But yeah,
Excuse me. Yeah, no, I that's a very good and valid argument for sure. And again, I think that's what a lot of people like kind of go with her nowadays because it's just you're right. There's aspect wise just not much you could do with her that's different or super new and whatnot. All right,
mhm.
now we get to the wonderful Guardians box. So this is Michael Boggs and Aaron Haltom. Sorry, Aaron, if I'm saying your last name wrong, with Caleb Grace. Um, Okay, this is probably one of the most divisive boxes in all of Marvel Champions, and it's one of the weird ones for me because I'm actually kind of positive on Guardians. A lot of people hate Guardians. I don't. I think it's cool in retrospect of everything else that we have. So when Guardian Box first came
Mm,
out, I get why there's a lot of hesitation, but as Star Lord, Gamora, Nebula, all the other Guardians came out, I think it really helped the box.
yeah,
So the heroes for me, like Groot and Rocket. Rocket I was like a little iffy on, but I like Rocket more now. Groot is still one of my favorite heroes of all time. I like the way he works, even if Groot counters are kind of a pain to deal with. I love those heroes. They are some of my most fun played heroes to this day. I like Drang, though I really hate that it gives you a free resource with that ship, whatever it's called.
I don't
Uh,
know.
yes, thank you. I like a lot of people use Drang as like a warm up scenario, and I can't because you're just getting a resource generator. So like that kind of like negates not negates your deck, but like negates good builds of your deck. Collector one, throw it in the trash. That's fine. I understand that. Collector two, though, I think was guilty by association because Collector two I actually
Yeah.
like. I like what they were doing with it. I think it was a fresh new idea. Nebula, I'm hit and miss on. Sometimes she's a lot of fun, and other times she's not fun and not enjoyable. Ronan, I like Ronan. Yes, it is very, very frustrating to get 15 surges in a row, but sometimes it's just the way Marvel Champions works, and I'm okay with that. I'm happy that we have one like that. I never want another Ronan or anything like it, but I'm okay with that one existing. And this was one of the first campaigns where I was just like blown, not the first, it's probably the one I'm most blown away by with the market situation where you can buy different upgrades and do it kind of how you want. It's still my favorite campaign to this day. Sure, they had to not house roll, they had to errata a bunch of things because it was way too difficult, especially when you got to Ronin. But with that aside, I like it a lot. To me, it's like a low B, high C box overall.
I have a lot of opinions on this box.
Mm,
I agree with a lot of what you said, and I disagree with some of what you said. I'm
okay.
gonna start with Ronan because I feel like Ronan is the big thing, like a lot of people talk about. I feel like if it wasn't because he's difficult, people wouldn't like him. I feel
Mm,
like he's very bland. He's just kind of I'm going to attack, and I just feel like difficulty is like the only thing he has. But the way he
yeah.
makes things difficult, which is like more encounter cards, or like whoops, I took out your whole health bar and like all your hit points in one go. I don't know that I love that. I love the change of the mod sets, and even if you like play some of the like stuff that's maybe baseline easier than Ronan, but like on heroic mode, you're gonna get a lot of like the extra stuff happening.
Yeah.
But it's all gonna be more interesting. So I'm kind of a when people say I like that Ronan's difficult and we've got him. I kind of don't. I'm the one who says, but you can make a lot of this other stuff harder. And
Hmm.
that's like better. That's what I think.
Hmm.
I do sometimes have fun against him. I don't think it's you can't have fun against him. Particularly these days when the card pool has got stronger, it's a lot more reasonable. I remember when I first started playing in Galaxy's Most Wanted, we did those couple of games, as Black Panther, then I was Doctor Strange, and then he's like, hey, do you want to play the hardest villain just for a laugh? I'm like, sure. I mean, we probably got a good chance, right? I think it was like turn two or three, and I didn't touch Ronan again for quite some time. But that aside, like that's not really a factor here. Nebula, I like more than most people. She is very random. It is very up or down, but the mechanics are so interesting that she has these things that come out that have a passive thing, but then they trigger and you choose what to get rid of. I think, like on expert, at least on standard, they all
Hmm.
go, which is less interesting, but it's better when you get overwhelmed by them on expert. Surge happens and there's ups and
Hmm.
downs. Um, Collector 2 solid. Drain I actually quite like. You get the extra resource, but the main scheme goes up by an extra amount of threat. So it slightly offsets it, but it is
Hmm.
weird as a test because it's weirdly different.
Yeah.
Um, Collector 1, however, infiltrate the museum. This needs its own tier for me. Whenever I play the scenario, I feel like I'm wasting my time. I'm like, what am I
Yeah.
doing with my life? Why did I start this? Why did I take time to set this up? I just feel like it's unfun from like it does just take away your cards, which could be interesting in moderation, but you then like have to pay to get them back or you just lose. But that's the tip of the iceberg because he collects his own cards. So now I'm having to pay money, play less interesting cards, have less interesting game interactions, just so one of his cards is in a discard pile instead of this other section that's basically irrelevant at the moment anyway. And I have such a passionate hatred for that scenario that it's personal, basically. I think the idea is kind of fun, but the execution needed to be like way, way different. Personally,
Yeah.
this is like difficulty aside because some people like solo expert, can be very punishing. Um, Particularly with like his default modular set, which I think is what most people play with, because all those minions come out. Some of them come out as boost effects. It's even more stuff for the collection. Um, but that aside, yeah, I don't know. I like Drain. I like Collector 2. I kind of like Nebula. Don't like Ronan. Collector 1. I don't know. I wouldn't put him in the bin because it would insult all the trash. Um, no, I'm playing it up a little bit, but like, yeah. Rocket, I used to hate. He was a bottom five hero for me. Now he's like in the top half. So
Okay.
I think I understood how to play him more. And like sometimes there's a hero that I don't like as much. I find one fun deck and everything changes.
Yeah.
And that was repurposed Rocket for me. And yeah, Groot I've always kind of liked. I don't rate him super high, but I rate him higher than I think a lot of people. So it's one of those. So I talked a lot here. I think the mod sets in this box are some of the best we've ever had still, which as a mod set person who changes up the mods all the time, elevates this. I'm gonna say C tier.
That's pretty solid. I'll take C
Mm,
tier.
mm.
Okay, so the big question with it, with mod sets though, is space pirates. Do you like space pirates or no? With it permanently removing a card from your game.
So I started playing around Galaxy's Most Wanted. So the idea that cards would be permanently removed and I wouldn't have access to them, that was kind of a normal thing in certain games to me that I wouldn't have access to
Mm.
like the whole deck. So I didn't hate it. What I hate it with though is with Nebula. It makes Nebula worse because of additional boost cards, and then it's like disrupting you even more than all her stupid technique stuff. So I don't like it with Nebula. I think it's actually horrendous with Nebula, and I never play her with it anymore at all. But in itself, I do like that we have access to a set like that.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. Like at first I hated it and I still like deep down kind of dislike it, but I'm happy that it exists because I never want them to do it. Well, not that never. I would, if they ever do it again, do it very rarely or give me like, instead of top decking, you have to like throw away your hand or something. I don't know. Something, an option I think would be better.
It'd be interesting if like the collection mechanic, like you lose a card, was like like a permanent kind of like mod set. Like
Mm.
you could add a collection to anything, and you could like whatever the space pirate takes away, you could like pay to get back. Maybe so if there was something essential. That's kind of a fun idea, but I'm not designing stuff here. Whatever. Um, yeah, I will softly defend space pirates. They're also one of the early mod sets, with like such a heavy focus on quick strike, which I think is fun.
Yeah,
But yeah, they are. I see why people don't like them.
that's fair. All right, so next we have good old Star Lord, Peter Quill, Caleb Grace with Michael Boggs. Are you a Star Lord fan? I feel like this is a very polarizing hero.
Star-Lord is S tier.
Agreed.
I
Agreed.
I love Star-Lord. Such a people say, I think even you say this, and I do agree with it in general, like, Caleb's designs are often, like, quite steady, like, I don't wanna say, like, safe in a bad way, but you kind of know you're gonna get someone that's pretty decent. Star-Lord is such a weird, interesting, like, out there, risky hero, so different. When I've learned that Caleb designed it, because I thought it was Boggs for the longest time, I was like,
Mm,
"Really?" Um, like, I like the risk reward, you can kinda
yeah.
push your luck, you can play it safer. I like that he's a lot of money, but you get a downside for it, so you're dealing with more stuff. He's a combo character, so you can like play around his combos, but he makes everyone a guardian, and there's a lot of fun guardian stuff for allies in aggression and leadership. And there's technically other things like, if I can make guardians and like allies in justice guardians, at least it's triggering nowhere. And it's not exactly the same, but I really like playing around with that. I have a lot of fun with that. Um, I really like him in every aspect, and Blaze of Glory is super fun too.
Yeah, and I think he was the first that did the whole each ally you control gains whatever trait. I'm pretty
Yes.
sure he's the first. So, like, I remember when that first happened, it's like, oh, we could do some cool things with this now. We can get pretty weird with this, and I liked it. I liked it a
Mm.
lot. To this day, I think it's great. Nova Prime, I think, was one of their first like 5 cost cards, if I remember correctly, um,
Yeah,
which was
I'm a
interesting.
I want to say a lot of people don't like Nova Prime, but I'm a Nova Prime defender as well.
I think it's a cool card. I like the way that it works.
Mm,
I'm a big
nice,
fan. So I'm right there with you. S tier. Yes. Yes, please. I love the design. 100%.
perfect.
Gamora, Jeremy Zwirner, if I'm saying that right, with Michael Boggs and Caleb Grace. I'm a big Gamora fan. I like the way that she works. I like the whole finesse and precision thing where you play an attack
Hmm.
event, you remove one threat, and vice versa. I think that's really cool, and it works well with her deck. With like Death Blow is dealing 4 damage, but if you already did a thwart event ahead of time, now it's 7, right? And same with the thwart side. I like heroes that make me think my turn out more than just like, okay, really good card. I play really good card. Now with Gamora, it's like, okay, I want to play this card, but I have to figure out how I'm going to get it to work right. And then that's to me a really fun, interesting design space.
Hmm.
Um, if you want to say that the whole thing is bad because conditioning room is the worst art in the history of the game, I think that's fair. But I also like her aspect cards, but we don't have to focus on that. But overall, for me, Gamora is like an A tier fun hero, maybe S tier somewhere in there for me.
Wow. Yeah, I feel like I'll just say I feel like Gamora's somewhere like B tier for me, but like B tier is a good place to be because I like so much in this game. I think she's fun, she's fast paced in a way that a lot of heroes still aren't to this day. Like she just goes
Hmm.
and I attack something, forwarding happens, I fought, some attack happens, something's always happening. Cross counter is incredibly satisfying.
Yeah.
Um, I do think her multi aspect stuff doesn't lead to as many creative things as I expected to happen, but there's still like if you don't just pick some of like the most obvious options or like the most common options, there's still a lot you can do with it that I really enjoy. I've even enjoyed her like in leadership. Now we've got multi-talented, which is really good for her. So she like there's stuff you can do with her that's kind of aged well as well. You can even like go hone technique and just don't build outside of your aspect. You can just go aggression and it works fine because when you're attacking, you're removing threats. So hey,
Yeah.
solo play likes her a lot, and multiplayer likes her a lot too. So I'll say B.
Okay.
Just because I don't think it grips me enough to move above other stuff.
Sure. 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 All right. So next we have Drax with Michael Boggs and Caleb Grace. What are your Drax thoughts?
Ooh, I've always liked Drax, but I like reliable. Like if I'm gonna play the game, I wanna like have it not go horrendously wrong. And sometimes that's how it felt with Drax. But Drax has aged very well with like Taunt and Come Get Me Bub. Those two cards together is like my favorite thing because it's like dirt cheap healing and tough. And I'm powering up and getting all my counters online earlier, and then the combos can like go crazy. Um, I feel like every time I rank Drax in different lists and different videos with different people, he moves up and up. And I'm just gonna say A tier. He's fun. Um, he's very like dynamic, and you can put off big combos. I definitely like combo characters. So yeah, really, if I want to hurt something, Drax is gonna be always a good time.
Drax is so weird for me. But maybe it's because I hate protection. I don't hate protection. I
I
just don't enjoy it.
I will say quickly, I've been very low on protection for a long time, and it
Mm,
feels bad for me to now say I like protection, but I like the interesting cards that aren't defensive in protection.
yeah. Yeah. Like it feels like I'm almost doing the same thing every time. Even with the new cards, it feels like I'm still doing the same general idea.
Yeah.
And I haven't gotten to really work well in aggression, justice, or leadership. I mean, you can do stuff. It's not that you can't. It's just I feel like I haven't really. Um, And as long as I get Mantis out, I'm pretty good. I tried sidekicking Mantis. That wasn't interesting because she just heals herself anyway. So what's the point? Um, so for me, I like the idea of Drax. I think it's cool. I do have fun when I play him, but whenever I'm looking at my collection and I go, okay, who do I want to play next? And I look at Drax and I go, eh, I don't know if I really want to do that. So I think he's a C tier for me as far as fun. Like I like the stuff, and it's not even like I could find huge faults with him. It's just that I think I just played it so many times the same way that I'm just kind of bored with him at this point.
I almost feel like, he does have one game plan. Maybe that holds him back a little bit from like being S for me because when I play him, it's always so fun.
Yeah.
I will throw like a little thing out there. If you do want to play him in leadership, Noble Sacrifice is incredibly good
Okay.
for him. And if you play him in aggression, I do like that, but I think it's better in multiplayer because like you can
Yeah.
do more stuff with more minions that is more reliable.
That makes sense. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So rounding out the Guardians box or wave, we have Venom, Michael Boggs, and Caleb Grace. What I feel like you would have some Venom hot takes here.
Oh, really? Yeah. I remember before I did content, really, I did like these polls on Reddit that I kind of referenced that. I did these polls and was like, who's your favorite character from the Guardians Wave? Like 40% of people voted Venom. Out of like six characters, he got 40% of the vote, which is like the highest one of any. I do not like Venom at all. I think he's kind of like he's very plain, but
Mhm.
I feel like he's less engaging than Captain America, who's another jack of all trades, kind of like he is. I'm just not a Venom person. We talked a little bit earlier on about like Punisher, like Venom stuff, and I'm like, I don't like Venom's weapons. And outside of Venom's weapons, everything's kind of boring. So like, I don't know. Just doesn't work for me. Like he works, he does well, but like
Mm.
the idea, like the fun doesn't. It's just not interesting to me. I can't remember how many tiers we've got or whatever, but like if there's a tier, we have a D tier.
Sure.
That's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I feel like D tier is where he's gonna go for me.
I don't rank him much higher than you. I put him at about C because I agree. His guns, like, get his. Well, okay. First of all, I don't like his setup. I don't like that there's a solid shot that I'm just discarding most of my deck and then ending up with all these guns that I can't really afford now, or like I want to do other stuff with or whatever. Like, it feels so weird to me in the beginning. If it goes poorly. And some people might like that. That's fine, but not for me. And I agree. I'm leaning into his guns so much that it's like, okay, exhaust him, exhaust the guns, do multi-gun, right? Maybe I have the what is it, running gun or whatever that readies everything up. Okay, cool. And then I get to do that again. Like I'm going through kind of the same processes. Um, I don't mind like his attacks and his thwart stuff or like confusion and whatever. Like that stuff is it's fine, but it's just not it's just not for me, I guess.
Yeah, I it's interesting that I've compared like if you have all these weapons that that's kind of just covers everything. You don't have to put a ton of thought into it. But I like readying characters, which also can like let you ready up and do a little everything. But the weapons, like the multi-gun doesn't really interact with anything else. It's very
Yeah,
basic. It's not an attack, it's not a fort. And then his own like pistols, it's like a one-time thing. So it's like a one bonus and it's just lower interaction than I would like. He's moved up a little bit. I do kind of like him with firepower, but I don't love him with firepower. So it's one of those.
that's fair. All right, now we got Mad Titan Shadow. Caleb Grace with additional design development. Again, wording has changed. With Michael Boggs and Aaron Haltom. Mad Titan Shadow. What are your thoughts?
I remember when this book came out and people were like, "This is amazing!" It's, you know, the redemption arc from Guardians of Galaxy's
Mm,
Most Wanted, all this stuff, and it was the first box where it was being released and I was playing the game for, and
okay.
people were saying this is as good as Rise of Red Skull. Over time, I think general sentiment on that has reduced, and now people don't rate it that highly. I like Mad Titan's Shadow because I'm an Adam Warlock and Spectrum apologist. I like both of those
Mm,
characters. And I wasn't really involved in like the greater community. I wasn't on any of like the big discords. I wasn't, you know, when I was playing Adam Warlock, I was doing my own kind of thing. And I think that's maybe why I like him more.
yeah.
You know, when I discovered what this wild shooter deck was, I just kind of like looked at it like it's a cool idea, but like I wasn't having any problems with him. It didn't this hasn't fixed the character for me. I've always had a good experience with Adam. And I've always quite liked Spectrum. And then the scenarios, I really like Ebony more, I think more than most
Mm,
people. I like Tower Defense more than most people. Interestingly, I like Hela less than most people.
okay.
Um, but I kind of like I used to dislike Thanos, but I've come around to liking him. And I know your thoughts on Loki, and I feel like they might be similar to mine. So I'm gonna let you say about that. But overall, I like the box overall quite a lot. I'm gonna give it a B tier.
Okay. Um, I despise Spectrum. I cannot get her to work. I think it's more of a me problem than a her problem. I just every time I'm in the wrong form, and then everyone's like, "You just have to do this," and I do whatever that thing is, and then I'm still in the wrong form. Like I just there's so many better form flippers nowadays that I feel like she's just kind of aged poor. Not, well, I guess aged poorly in a sense. My only gripe with Warlock is that I don't want to spend that long deck building for him. Is like
Mhm.
Marvel Champions to me is like I don't have decks saved, and I think if you're the type of person that has decks saved, you like Warlock more because like I put everything away when I'm done and I put everything back, and it's just I hate deck building for him. I want to play the game, spending half an hour playing it, put everything away, move on with my life. But I do yes, the Wild Tutor deck I think is quote unquote broken or whatever, or solved or whatever you want to phrase it. There is enough nowadays out there that you can still do some like really interesting stuff with Warlock.
I'm gonna come in and disagree a little bit, but not how you think. I don't think the wild shooter deck solved him, and I feel like there's so many really good ways to build him. So I'm kind
Yeah.
of I think Adam Warlock has a lot of possibilities, but I do agree the physical building, one of each card from so many places is such a nightmare. Like, and then putting it away just takes a while.
Mhm.
And like even just like the designing the deck is more involved because it's so weird. I kind of like it, but like that bit, but there's a downside that I definitely
Yeah.
recognize.
Ebony Maw, I agree with you. I like Ebony Maw. I've never had issues with it. I think the whole invocation counter thing is really cool. That I can see what's going to be hitting me down the road. I think that was a cool design. Tower Defense, I liked a lot. I still like to this day. I think it's a pretty cool design. Thanos, I love Thanos. I've always enjoyed it. Except for his stupid helmet with retaliate. I'm not gonna get into that. I'm not gonna get into that. um Hella, I was very high on Hella in the beginning because it felt like Lord of the Rings, the card game, which I came from before
Mhm.
this. So it was that, and I was like, oh my god, yes, I love this journey and process. Then when you figure out how to solve it, basically, and figure out the best way to do it, it's like I haven't touched Hella in a year because I know the best route to do. I know the best way to do this. Like it's not as interesting to me anymore because of that. Um, so I get a lot of people have softened on Hella. I agree with them. It's just not interesting to me. Um, I still love the Infinity Gauntlet deck. I will still add it to a lot of villains just for funsies.
Yes.
Yeah, just to
Mm.
make it cool. A lot of the mod sets I like, with the exception of Enchantress. She can just burn. I hate that mod set so much because it's
I thought
just.
you'd I thought you'd really like that mod set because I feel like there's another character you like that really makes you see it more often.
Oh yeah, I love that. um. Okay, Loki. Loki. I cannot put into full words how much I despise Loki. Especially to keep this channel PG. I cannot use the correct words. I think he is boring. I think he is repetitive. I think he's redundant. I do not like the gauntlet with him. I think it just throws everything out of balance. He is not enjoyable. He is not fun. I play him when chat forces me to play him, and then I hate chat for a whole week because they made me play him. Like, that is it. If he disappeared from my collection, not only would I not notice, I would not care.
Yeah. Okay, I don't hate him that much, but I really don't like him for like the gauntlet. Like, I don't mind on him, but like the combined effect with everything else, he's got a lot of toughs on his own and stuff like that. He's got a lot of HP on his own, especially on expert.
Hmm.
And then the gauntlet is stunning you, giving him toughs, it's healing him, and it just makes a very long scenario take even longer. And it has a less interesting interaction with him than Thanos, who's, also kind of a long scenario. So like Loki kind of doesn't have a purpose for me.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, very kind of like frustrating or like annoying or like tiring to fight.
yeah. So with all that being said, for me, for fun wise, I still actually like the box. It's very, to me, it's almost the middle, like, of everything. Like, if it's almost the guidepost I use for, like, if things are good in this game, it goes above Mad Titan. If I don't like things in this game, it goes below Mad Titan. It's very just like
Gotcha.
solid C, I guess, whatever you want to phrase it in the middle. C tier type box for me. There's a lot that I like, but there's a lot I don't like. There's a lot I have large emotional swings, I think, with that box.
That's
All right.
funny. Yeah,
Um
I didn't mention the mod sets for that box, but I
mhm,
feel like they're like maybe a little bit below average overall, but
mhm.
with like the Infinity Gauntlet brings the average up very high.
That's fair, yeah. All right, hero pack. We have War Machine, which is Caleb Grace and Aaron Haltom together.
Ooh,
I infamously do not like War Machine. I do not like the War Machine counters, whatever ammo counters. I do not enjoy them. I do not think they're fun. I think too often I get stuck without ammo counters, even when I have whatever that thing is. What's it called? Munitions bunker. Doesn't matter. Still doesn't work great for me. Not enjoyable. Then I play them not solo in multiplayer, and he is much more interesting and better because I can flip down
mhm,
and do the counters. If I'm ranking him as a solo hero, he is near the bottom, if not the bottom for me. Maybe not F. That's kind of harsh. Probably D. But if I'm playing a multiplayer, he now jumps up to like a B tier for me. So I don't usually call out differences between solo and multiplayer stuff because there's differences, but not massive differences. This is one of the first heroes for me that's a massive difference between solo and
yeah.
multiplayer.
Yeah, I think it is a huge difference. I think in solo as well, I like him less, but I do like him more than you overall. I still think he might be placed maybe like in the high C tier for me solo.
Okay.
But I'm not sure. Um I do like him a lot though. I do think the ammo counters are weird. I actually like them, but I feel like things ask you to spend them that don't really need to, or there's no benefit for having this extra thing. Like if this card was printed without the ammo counter, it'd be perfectly balanced on him or
Yeah.
any other character. Shoulder cannon repeating, obviously not. Just repeat infinitely. But on the, like the sensible stuff, like on like thwarting event, it's no more powerful than like Vision's thwarting event, same wave. But I've got to pay this counter, and it doesn't bypass anything like his. It just
Hmm.
doesn't make sense to me. And why does my thwarting thing take ammo? I don't know. No, but I think I do really enjoy him. I like Shoulder Cannon a lot. I do enjoy actually a few of his like different cards. I think are quite satisfying. Um, so my recommendation, if you haven't, maybe you have, but if you haven't, the cards from Agents of Shield, um, Gemma Simmons and Leo Fitz, and then along with Ready for a Fight and Protection.
Hmm.
Um, put all those in a deck together, and I think he's a lot more solo viable as well. He'll get his setup quicker, and instead of getting schemed against, he goes back to hero form, which means you can flip back and forth more often, which means even more ammo because more flips to get 5 ammo per game. But also, um, the upgraded chassis gets more tough, so they're more useful per game. So that's my little recommended kind of thing to do with
I'll
him.
have to try that, yeah.
Um, but in general though, I kind of get everything you're saying, but I just like him. So I feel like it's gonna be C tier for me, but like a strong C tier.
Okay. Okay. All right. So next up is where we may end this interview early. So we have Valkyrie. Lead designer is just Caleb Grace, so we can't even say it's anyone else with this. Um, I think most people know my thoughts on Valkyrie at this point. She is the GOAT. She's the greatest of all time. There's, in my opinion, no denying it whatsoever. I don't care what anyone says. Yeah. I to this day I really like Valkyrie. I like the way that she works. I know people want Deathglow to be free, and I suggest playing that way and realizing that she's too powerful. Like it's too strong. I don't think it works. I know a lot of people have tried different things to like change Deathglow in the way that it works. I think it makes her ungodly strong, which maybe you like as a hero, and that's totally cool. I still like the way it works because you don't want to just put Deathglow on everything that's out there. Like don't, oh, the villain's out there, so I'll just put it on now. Like you have to be careful when you time things, and I like that. I like, with the exception of Annabelle Riggs, whatever. She's just a wild resource. But I like everything else. Again, I like aggression. I like minion slaying. It checks all these boxes for me. There's enough ways with even Flight of the Valkyrie, I know people don't like. I do, that I
I
can
do
keep
too.
that out there. Yeah, I think that's just like a weirdly misunderstood card. Maybe not misunderstood, but whatever. I like the way that works. I love her. I love her. I love everything about her. I will defend her to this day. I think she is phenomenal. She is S tier fun for me every single time. God likes Anima.
Yeah.
Great card.
I mean, she's the hero that lets you see Enchantress more often. I mean,
That's
do I need to
true.
say
Yeah.
anything? um, I agree and disagree with you. I feel like Valkyrie's design is really cool. Like, has some really cool ideas. I feel like some of the execution is heavily flawed
Mhm.
because yeah, maybe you shouldn't just put Deathglow everywhere if you can, but putting it on the villain is generally a humongous mistake. Usually, it's just really restrictive. Her defense cards feel really bad, like if they aren't active, but if Deathglow is on the villain and you're in hero form, then any minions, which is everything she's about, are going to feel really bad. And I feel like that's heavily flawed. I feel like that should have been caught and changed.
Mhm.
I don't know what happened with the Nemesis set. Like, that's just crazy to me. Um, but I'm sure there was an interview where Caleb talked about it, and he was like, "Oh, Enchantress was like the perfect Nemesis. We already had it, so there we go." And I'm like, "Okay, cool."
Yeah. Right.
Like, did they test it? I don't know. That was in pandemic time, so who knows? um, but she has some really cool ideas, and I feel like she's aged really well. I feel like Valkyrie with Dragon Fang and without Dragon Fang, and for reference, that's her one cost weapon that can give her +2 attack against a Deathglow marked target. Like that's crazy. Now with lock and load and aggression or superpowered training anywhere, even justice with manifold, the ally to like find it. Just all I want to do when I play Valkyrie is get that weapon out. And it's so much easier to do now. It's like multiple times easier, like two
Mhm.
or three times easier. And then she can do all of her kind of game plan like really well, slaying minions. There's more minions like summoning cards, which are actually better than the aggression ones in all the other free aspects. So like there's a lot more engaging ways to like approach her in the game. And I came to the startling realization that yeah, she has some big flaws. But I think I enjoy her more than four now. That's what I was referencing.
Yes. Yes. I'll take it.
So I don't think Valkyrie scores super high for me, but I actually enjoy her pretty decently these days. Again, if it was just solo, a little bit lower, a little bit War
Mm.
Machine, but I mainly play two player, so whatever. And she's still fun. Like you can still have fun in solo. It's just sometimes you don't. but I'm gonna put her in a very respectable C tier for fun.
I'll take it. I'll take a C tier any day of the week. Yes.
Yeah, so I wanted to be like, oh, we need a new low tier. We need like a V tier, but no, it's a C. It's a C.
Oh God. All right. The interview can continue now. Perfect. Um,
Great.
all right. So the next one we got, the last one of this wave is Vision. This is again just Caleb listed on it. I'll admit that when Vision first came out, I didn't really care for him. I didn't like the whole intangible dense thing. It was like weird to me, and I was always wrong. And then I was like stuck with just like, well, just make Vivian build, right? Like that's the meme, right? You're playing Vivian, you're not playing Vision.
Yeah.
And I personally got stuck in this loop of like just doing Vivian, just doing Vivian. And I've had to force myself out of it. And now that I've done that, it felt weird. But there's enough out there now that I think I don't mind Vision now. I actually kind of like him. I like the choices of like, what is it? Solar Beam. That if Vision is in dense mass form, deal 7 damage. If he's in intangible, right, remove 5 threat. I like these choices now more as I've gotten older. I guess older or whatever. I think it's more interesting. I also, again, not a big protection person, so I didn't really like a lot of the stuff that were there, and I didn't like flow like water with his deck, even though I love that card. So there's some issues there with that.
Hmm.
But I think at first Vision was like a D tier hero for me for fun. And he's probably C, maybe B if I'm like really into something, but he's pretty middle of the road for me now, which is a massive improvement for me.
Yeah, I was a newer player when Mad Titan's Shadow was coming out. Like that kind of wave was like I was first getting to discover like all the new stuff when I was like already up to date on all the old stuff. Like I'd played that, and I was so looking forward to Vision. I was like, he seems kind of weird with his form change, with his different things happen in a different place, and I was really looking forward to him. And he fell so flat for me. He was such a
Oh.
disappointment, and I was like, this guy's boring. What is this like okay, like I really feel like I figured him out very quickly and like different
Mhm.
like a couple of different like form change patterns and Vivian was Vivian. But he has slowly over time grown on me. And when player side schemes came out, I think he took a big leap up because
Yeah.
his fording I actually think is some of the best in the game. Like if you look at every hero and play all their threat removal events, his is going to be like among the highest.
Mhm.
Readying characters it's a bit weird, but even if you factor in Vivian, fought twice, that's 6 threat removed for a 2 cost card. Like not bad, fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
He can demolish player side schemes, and I found playing into that quite fun. There's now new ways to build up your basic forwarding, even more when I think Wonder Man comes out. But like
Mhm.
specialized training, heroic intuition, suddenly I want to reboot Vision and not Vivian,
Yep.
which is nice. Sidekick came out. Now, yeah, I'm focused on Vivian a little bit, but I'm not having to spend on her every turn. We're both readying up and benefiting. And it's just all these little ways, even taunt, I'm intangible, I make the villain attack me, get a reward for that. Like there's all these fun little things with him that just raised him up. I think he's like a high C, low B for me as well. But I like a lot of stuff in this game, so that's not bad for me by any means.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say B.
All right, nice. Okay, so Sinister Motives was basically the Michael Boggs wave, with the exception of one pig-related card, which was Michael Boggs and Caleb Grace worked on Spider Ham. Again, I feel like this is another very polarizing hero in the community. Uh, I am a Spider Ham believer. I enjoy Spider Ham. I like the way he works. I do not say any of the things out loud because I'm just playing by myself in a room and my wife would think I'm crazy. Um, but the biggest downside with him is his own pre. Was his own precon that came with it? I don't. Well, no, it didn't. But with clarity of purpose, right? His biggest downside is clarity of purpose because it made him so repetitive. Like you're gonna kind of lean into that and do things with that. You don't have to, but it feels like silly not to with him. So for me, for fun, I enjoy when I play him, but I don't play him that often because I end up playing him exactly the same. So he's probably like a low A, high B, somewhere in there for me personally for fun.
I thought you were gonna hate on Spider Ham because I feel like that's what everybody does. I think I quite like Spider Ham. It's funny, my partner who I play with most often, she loves Spider Ham, but then my best friend who I play with second most often absolutely despises Spider Ham. So I see all the opinions from both sides, and I'm just kind of like, I like him quite a lot, but he's not one of my favorites.
Hmm.
I think the idea of taking damage for a benefit, but you want to minimize how much damage you take, is such a fascinating concept.
Yeah.
Um, Clarity of Purpose was weird. It released alongside Spider-Ham with SPDR, Penny Parker, and she also came with Web Warrior protection cards, which damage your hero as well. Like, I felt like everything she came with was kind of meant for him, which I felt like is a little bit too like obvious. Like, I don't know. But I still like what he can do. I still find like maximizing his game plan really fun. Now we've got like Taunt and Rogue and other things which can cause you to be damaged in different ways. I actually like him in every aspect. I do think there's different things you can do. You are still aiming for like take damage, get money, but he's always enjoyable. So I'm gonna give him a solid B. Yeah, B tier.
All right, pretty good. Okay, next we finally entered the X-Men wave with Mutant Genesis. Caleb is the only one listed here. I think this was exciting for a lot of people, me included. I'm gonna be honest, I love
Yeah.
this box. I love this box. It's a solid
Oh.
A box.
Oh, really?
um, okay, so I love Shadowcat. Shadowcat's great. I think she's phenomenal. I hate Colossus. He's the only thing that I don't like in this box. And not that he's bad. I can't get him to work. I have tried, and God, it will not work for me. So I have moved on with my life. I've just accepted that he's fine. Whatever. Shadowcat, I love. I think she's more versatile than people give her credit for. A lot of people are like, oh, she only works in this way. And I think she works in a lot of different ways, which is pretty interesting. Sabretooth, people hate. I love Sabretooth. I think he's super fun. I think he's interesting. So I'm fine with that. And I don't think it should be a game over Robert Kelly dies. I think that should be an automatic win. So that's just a side note.
Yeah, fair.
uh, Project Wide Awake, I like. I think Project Wide Awake is fine. Master Mold, I think is good. I think I'm more of a Wide Awake fan than Mold fan, but I like both of them. Mansion Attacks, phenomenal multi scenario. I don't think it's as good as Sinister Motives, but doesn't matter. They're both fantastic. I enjoy it. And then Magneto is one of the best designed villains in my mind, with the exception of the confusion of magnet counters and when does it actually trip things up and whatever. And okay, I'm not gonna look at that for a second. But I think everything else with Magneto I really like, really enjoy. And the mod sets, with the exception of Mystique I don't really care for, but the other mod sets I like
Yeah.
a good amount. So for me, Mutant Genesis A tier.
You're wrong. No, 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 no. I think this is box for me is what Mad Titan's Shadow is for you. It's like a roller coaster, sort of up and down. So I have a lot
Mm,
of emotional reactions here. I want to criticize this box early on because a lot of the cards didn't make sense, or we had no idea how they worked. If you've seen certain rulings on like how Shadow Cat works and different cards individually and
mm.
things, I sent a lot of those in, and I had to back and forth and like, how does this work? Here's some examples, and um, just even like I wasn't the Magneto counter person, but that's like an example of that
Mhm.
the feel like the wording on this box, maybe needed an extra Passover. But if you know how it actually is meant to work, if you play it that way, I think it's all really good in that respect. Um, the heroes, we didn't know about how Shadowcat worked with Powerful Punch for a while, which seemed like made for her.
Mhm.
And Shadowcat is quite rules intensive, but I like her a lot. Colossus I've always liked, and I think that's only grown. I kind of want us to do like a stream where I can like coach you on Colossus and a
Please,
Spectrum.
yes.
um, but he has an element of risk and things not lining up. So it's totally like understandable. So, but I like both of those heroes a significant amount. They're both like in my top 20-30%
Okay.
of heroes. Um, the scenarios, however, I hate Sabretooth. I softly like Project Wide Awake, but I don't like it like a ton. Not a big fan of Master Mold. I do like Mansion Attack a lot, and I love Magneto. I know when I did a video, everyone's favorite villain, and you submitted for that.
Mm.
Spoilers if people haven't watched that, but at the time you said Magneto, which I was really pleased about because I really like Magneto. Um, so yeah, there's like two villains I don't like. There's one that I'm okay with, but then there's two I do like. I don't like the aspect cards that much. I thought most of them. There's a couple of exceptions, like the Wolverine ally was really exciting and fun.
Mhm.
And at the time, I think that's when there was Utopia, and that was fun at the time.
Yeah.
Before it got a little bit old. But I don't like the mod sets here. I think they range between like forgettable to Mystique, which I just don't want to use.
Yeah.
The exception is I love the Acolytes. I really like the Acolytes modular set. That was the first teamwork one we had, and I think it's still one of the best because
Mhm.
even if teamwork doesn't trigger, they still do something. They have an interesting ability on them.
Alright, that's fair. I'll take that.
Oh, I've got to
Oh.
place it though. I'll put it
Oh,
in C
yeah.
tier. I
See,
think in
okay.
expansion, just because it's got so much good stuff in it, has to. It is just better than stuff that's bad without the good.
Alright, next we have, Caleb by himself once again doing Cyclops. I feel like you came out with the old Master Blaster deck, and I feel like that really kinda changed the game there.
Yeah, I also had a Cyclops deck that was a shield deck and using tactics for like shenanigans over with that and stuff.
Mhm.
I really like Cyclops. I think you can play Cyclops with no X-Men allies and he still does extremely well and you can do different things. Obviously, you probably do want to take some X-Men. Um, I like that you can lean into tactics. If you deck build for it, you can make blasting builds work. And people are negative on allies. Allies are still my favorite card type in the
Yeah.
game. Sometimes I try and reduce my use of them. Sometimes I just go crazy with them, and Cyclops lets me do that if I want to. I'm gonna say Cyclops S tier.
Whoa, okay. Whoa. Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I vaguely know what you think of him, so
Well, and here's the weird thing. So when he came out, I did not enjoy him whatsoever. I really had a personal gripe with Optic Blast. I don't know why. It felt weird to me that you had to spend a resource and deal damage to something that had an upgrade on it. Bro, that guy's Optic blasted everything in the TV show when we were a kid.
Yeah. I read more comics now, and I quite like Cyclops is in a lot of X-Men stuff, surprise.
Mhm.
And it kind of in hindsight, it's weird to me he isn't just blasting more and able to blast more, so I do understand.
Yeah, so that was always like a weird feeling to me. I like the visor. It was weird to me also that what was it? His obligation, which basically just got the
Yeah.
visor for you. It was like a pro. Like that was the weirdest feeling ever. And that's not a bad thing. It was just like this feels weird. Like I want the obligation. Um
Yeah.
at first I did not like him. I was not a Cyclops fan. Over time, I have softened on him and I like him a bit more. I've played him, I don't know, maybe it was 2 months ago. And I was like, this isn't the worst thing I've done in my life. I have done worse things now, which I don't think we'll be able to talk about. But it's it is probably now a C tier for me for fun.
It feels like a B tier, but you're in denial, is kind of the impression I'm getting here.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
might be me wanting you to move him up, but yeah, I don't know. I will defend him, but it's almost like this game is more mechanical for me. I didn't really care that he had any optic blast one certain place. I'd actually seen him in the cartoon when I was younger, not probably as much as you, but like
Mhm.
or like whatever. But like I was familiar, but it didn't really bother me. Now I kind of feel like he should just be blasting all over the place, but you can build into it, so, like, I'm okay with it. Yeah, so I
I will
think
s
I think that's I did not expect you to put Cyclops this high, so I'm pretty happy. He's my Valkyrie, like, in reverse.
Yeah, yeah, I like it. We were helping each other out. I will say that your Master Blaster deck thing, with leaning the full blast, really kind of like started to change my mind about him because when that deck came out, I was like, I don't like because I don't read your descriptions, obviously, because why would you read anything? And I started playing it, but it naturally made sense of like how it would work. And I was like, oh, this is actually pretty fun. Like, I do like doing massive amounts of damage with this thing. So that was like the redemption arc for him was your deck personally started slowly changing my mind.
I'm so happy to hear that. I feel like my work here is done. I feel like we can now end this video because I've heard enough. Like, I will not get anything better than this, from this. But, long-time viewers might remember this, or like people watch your streams, but maybe some newer ones won't, or some of people who watch me and not you, which is basically nobody. Um, but I've made a couple of like decks you to play on stream and stuff, and you famously never read any of the descriptions, and it drives me mad. But I'm glad that somehow this one worked out.
I will say, even if I don't read your descriptions, it's the deck still works because it just that's the one thing I've always liked about your decks is they just naturally make sense to me, and I don't know what it's like. There's certain decks that I recognize the name of those people, and I'll play it, and I'm like, this didn't work. And then in chat will be like, well, because you played it entirely wrong, you have to read the description. I'm like, I'm not reading words. I'm an American. We don't sit here and read. Like that's crazy. So, and they're like, no, you have to do like things in a certain order. But like for your decks, I've always enjoyed them because it's just like it always makes sense to me, or at least 95% of the time, like makes sense of how I should do it. So,
Yeah, I like decks that I like combos and weird things and interesting interactions, but if I sit down to play a hero, I kind of want it to work on the first try. So like I really
mm,
try and like smooth out a lot of stuff. So maybe that's an influence, but very happy to hear it.
I think you're just a good deck builder. So, um, so
Controversial.
no, I'll die on that hill too. So, all right, next we have Phoenix, lead designer Caleb Grace. I don't know if this will be a weird one for us or not because I am a Phoenix believer. I love Phoenix. I love everything about. Oh, good. It's good signs already. So I think she is slightly misunderstood because of how Phoenix Force works. I think so many people are like trying to like flip her down and flip her back up and flip her down, like get like between the forms. I think that threw people off. I think it's more of a timing issue where you want to make sure like when
Mhm.
you're ready to go, you're removing the last counter and you're going, right? You're not trying to
Yeah.
go back and forth. I love her shield. I love her massive attacks. They feel good. It was, I think, one of the first times we had like a 3 for 9 card essentially. Assuming you were unleashed. I'm not positive on that, but I think so.
Mhm.
So I like the way that she worked. I think for solo, because again, we had 3 thwart base, like I can handle that board state so easily and make everything work. Um, I really like her. I really like her. She is an A tier hero for me and fun.
Okay. I hear everything you're saying, and I agree. I think like the form change, like it's not an actual form, but it's like a form change.
Yeah.
Unleashing, being restrained. I feel like that is often misplayed. And I agree. Like early game, you typically stay in, restrained, and then when you're ready to go, boom, you unleash. Some decks want to like do it a little differently,
Mm.
um, but like that's normal. Um, how do I say this? When she's restrained, I hate her cards more than any other hero's cards, maybe including Hulk. Um, and interestingly, Hulk had like 10 damage on Hulk Smash. It's not an attack, it increases his attack, but it was a free cost card with 10 damage. So weirdly, Hulk might be the one to like
That's
do
true.
something
Yeah.
before Phoenix. But Phoenix cards that I like Mind Control. I love Mind Control. I've always loved all those aspect cards which do similar as well. I do like her shield. When she's unleashed, I like her cards a lot more. And I do think she's interesting. I love the Psionic stuff. But man, when she's restrained and I see a hand of Phoenix cards, my heart sinks. I'm just like, oh, what am I doing here? Why has this happened to me? Um, and I now build her with like 45 card decks all the time just to try and dilute things a little bit earlier on.
Interesting.
She's one of the characters I will intentionally go over for. I'm not like one of those people that says you can never go above 40, but I'm
Mm.
generally aiming for 40 if I can. But with Phoenix, I'm like, dilute this mess. I may be like exaggerating slightly, but also not really. So take it as you will. But I kind of think she's kind of interesting. There's a lot you can do with her, a lot of different decks. So I'm gonna give her a C tier rating, but it's on the lower end of C for me.
Okay. All right. All right. Next up, we have Wolverine, Caleb by himself. With the exception of some of the issues of Wolverine's claws from the beginning of how the rules worked, and we need clarifying on that and whatnot. And
That was largely me as well, sending you these
thank you.
questions.
Thank you. Thank you. Because that whole thing was a mess to this, whatever. Anyway, Wolverine, I love. He is kind of a one trick pony in the sense of like I am just trying to punch things as fast and hard as I can, and I like that about him. Like he does that well. Getting Jubilee in there to increase your attack, I think or for the one time is pretty interesting. I'm
Yeah,
not a big upgrade person, but his upgrades work well. I like the whole. I kind of actually like that it punishes you for flipping down to Alter Ego that you get rid of that card. I'm sorry, with Berserker Frenzy. So
yeah,
I kind of like what it's actually doing there. Track by Scent was a shockingly good thwart card, especially for solo play. For
so
multiplayer, I
good.
get that it's a little tougher. Um, but yeah, I'm a huge Wolverine fan. He's probably S tier for me.
I'm so sorry. No, I get what you're saying. I feel like when he came out, everybody loved him, and then here I was thinking, I mean, okay, so I attack with his claws. That's kind of interesting, but like, what else do I got? I don't typically think I like characters where they're like driven to attack, and
Mm,
that's like the whole thing. I'm not a big Winter Soldier person. Like, I have fun with Wolverine, I have fun with Winter Soldier, but they don't grab me. It's just like okay. It's just like I'm doing the attack thing again.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I get that.
But over time, I have liked Wolverine more. I love him with full body charge and aggression. Just like take the most damage, do this huge attack. Like that is fun for me. I've liked some more protection stuff. You know, he's moved up for me. I would have said like D tier in the past, just because he doesn't match my style. But I would now say like a healthy C tier is
Okay.
kind of what I'm feeling for Wolverine.
I also the other thing I didn't mention with him is I also liked the idea of using your health as a resource. It was like the first
Yeah.
real time we kind of saw that, and I think that was pretty cool. Now, if he didn't heal naturally, I'd be like, "This is the worst thing in the entire world. Why would you do this?" But I thought the way they did that was pretty good too.
Yeah, even like the healing, like every turn, or like healing regularly, is not something we see on many heroes.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Next we got Storm, Caleb Grace. Good old Storm. The Storm is everything I wanted Spectrum to be. I love Storm. Love
Storm is
Storm.
like such an evolution of Spectrum, I wanna say. There's like so many little things that are like
Hmm.
similar. Even the
I
way like the resource generator I'm gonna
mhm.
interrupt you.
No,
I'm
no,
gonna
guys. No, that's
just
fine.
say
Yeah.
just the way like the resource generator it generates like what weather she's on. It's like Spectrums generates what like energy form she's on, little things like that. But I'll let you talk about Storm. Tell me about Storm.
So Storm, okay, so you have your weather deck, right? And you can basically
Yep.
flip your weather card whatever you want. That's what I want Spectrum to do. It feels great that I can change that, and when I change it, I get that little special that like, hey, I can remove some threat, I can deal some damage. I guess I could choose a non-elite minion, but I don't really do that much. The Blizzard's just there. We could do Clear Skies, so we draw a card, and when I go to Clear Skies, hey, I get Stalwarts, or I was stunned and confused. It's an easy way to clear it. I also really like the idea that it does it for each character, and I get for
Yeah.
multiplayer that could be good and bad, right? Because like somebody's dealing with a lot
Hmm.
of minions, they're like, bro, why'd you just do this to me? But it also helps the heroes, right? I like that change of it. I think it felt really cool and interesting. Her cape and her crown are obviously very strong. Her lightning bolt ability with the 3 for 8,
Yes.
and then you do the extra 2 damage on top of it with the special, I think is really cool. Just everything about her, I think is just fun, and it's easier for me to flip between all these forms and whatnot. I don't know if she's S tier, but she's probably pretty close. Definitely a high A for me.
Well, let me tell you, she is an S tier character.
Okay.
She's one of my absolute favorite heroes in the game. I think the fact that her weathers affect every character is what makes it. Like, if that didn't happen, if it's just your characters and allies, or even just your like teammates and stuff, like multiplayer as well, I don't think it'd be the same. I like that there's a dynamic that I'm playing, like having to consider how it's affecting two sides of the board. Really
Yeah.
tickles my brain in a good way, if that makes sense. Um, and I really enjoy that. I like there's different things you can do. I do particularly just love Thunderstorm, boosting people's damage. I do think in multiplayer, it's more in the player's favor, but it can be pretty dangerous. And, it's definitely a puzzle to navigate it. And maybe not everyone at the table will appreciate it. Um, but generally think it's heavily in the player's favor if you play around it properly. So, like, I really enjoy it. And every single one of her cards, except maybe her garden, which is just fine,
Mhm.
is really like fun and satisfying. So I was kind of a dowster and blast off wind at first, but even that I've ended up finding quite useful to like trigger an extra thing on her like weather cards more often. As you go into multiplayer, the blanking minions has better targets
Yeah.
and there's more attacks happening. Like so, there's all these different dynamics to consider, and it feels so good when the villain like stuns and confuses you, and you remove both with one little change in the weather. So
Yeah.
it's just satisfying. It's just fun, and you know she's maybe not my favorite character, but she's almost right, she's right at the top.
You convinced me. I could push her to low S tier. Uh,
Medium S tier, but okay, sure. I'll take it. I'll take it.
All right. Next we have Gambit, who is Caleb Grace design. I'll let you start with Gambit.
Gambit's really weird. Like I hear people say, like, what's Gambit's weakness? And like he doesn't have one. I kind of think he does. He's got like a little bit almost like low output and a little bit like if you're in the wrong form, like not all of his cards can trigger on certain turns, you know. But I do like Gambit. Gambit's a weird one for me. I feel like maybe like low B kind of like it's just kind of the right place for him. And I always have fun with him, but he never like blows me away. His Ultra Ego ability, however, I wish more people had an interesting Ultra Ego ability like his. I think that's
Yeah.
really in his favor. One of my problems with him is that Nick Fury released, and Nick Fury, I think, builds up his like damage boost in a more interesting way, and it can damage boost basic attacks as well as events. So he kind of like usurped Gambit for me in a lot of ways. So that's kind of maybe lowered Gambit slightly for me.
I agree. Gambit, I feel like I'm trying to do two different things with Gambit and they're conflicting with each other. With I'm trying to build up his charge counters on his hero side, but I need to flip down constantly to thwart for the most part. So I feel like if you flip at the wrong time or you flip up at the wrong time or whatever, and then the villain does something like an advance or whatever, like everything's just kind of thrown out the window then. And I feel like I'm just doing two different things. And when it works, it's really, really cool and interesting. And I like that. When it goes poorly, it feels like it goes poorly really, really fast for Gambit all of a sudden.
Mm. Yeah, I can see that. I mean, if you end in Ultra Ego as well, like you can't use his armor to ready up because you're not
Right.
attacked. Weirdly, all that stuff you're talking about and like what I mentioned, it's kind of fixed with ready for a fight. It's kind of
Mm,
funny how much that card can do for you because you can go Ultra Ego, but then you're in hero form
yeah.
and you can just use everything. But like, I can't judge a character just by one card existing in one aspect, and even then, you won't have it all the time, and it might not be desirable all the time, and so on and so forth. And he has a lot of energies, and ready for a fight needs physicals, so like it's not perfect anyway, though I do like it. So yeah, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
He's got potential. I always enjoy him, but I'm never like super excited to play him.
That's kind of how I feel too. Like I'm not upset when I play him. Like when I play him, I'm like, okay, this was fun. But then sometimes things go sideways, and then other times things go amazing. And I feel like that's just. I feel like he's when people talk about Nebula being super swingy, that's Gambit for me. Is like I'm not 100% sure what game I'm gonna end up with him. So fun. He's probably high C for me, somewhere in there. When it goes wrong, low C. Like there's sometimes enough that I can fix the things, but not always. I don't know. He's such a weird one for me. I have a really
Yeah,
hard time playing or placing Gambit somewhere.
yeah.
Okay, last one from this cycle or this wave was Rogue, which was also Caleb. Go ahead.
I feel like you're going to be a rogue hater, but I'm a rogue defender. I really like rogue. I feel like rogue is incredibly misunderstood. Um, I feel like she's incredibly misunderstood. I feel like people see like the trait stealing thing and they want to build some kind of wacky game plan. But
Yeah.
she comes with like 13 of her 15 cards are events. She has like a game plan. She has a lot of things she's kind of built to do in there. And people are trying to like build something else into her. I feel like that's natural because it's such an interesting way to be able to take traits. But I feel like she kind of has her own thing, and you kind of have to play Rogue the hero and do something on top of it. You can't just build a new complete thing with her, if that makes sense. I feel like a
Yeah.
lot of people, when she's released, wanted her to be like this kind of special blank canvas that they could do anything in the game, and that's just not how. She there's only one line on her hero card that says that. Nothing else in her hero kit really buys into that. I think the other thing that's really annoying that I agree with is Bulletproof Bell only really works at all, let alone being at its most efficient, if touched is on the villain. But
Hmm.
touched is like at its most fun when you can like do creative stuff and put it elsewhere. So I do dislike that part, but I don't think two copies of this one, like obviously really good event, is enough to warp your entire deck building and game plan
Sure.
around. So my big defense of her is don't stress too much about Bulletproof Bell. Like if it lines up, great. But if you can do something else awesome right now, do it. You might not even draw Bulletproof Bell next turn or whatever. Like, just live in the moment, do the good thing and have fun. And with that in mind, and I do like some crazy decks with her that kind of like synergize with her and what she wants to do. I'm debating A tier or S tier for me, which if you're I saw your eyebrows almost like left your forehead.
Yeah.
That's a shock to you. I'm worried I'm gonna put too many characters in on S tier. I feel like I should be restrained, but I'm not going to. I'm gonna go Rogue, and I'm gonna say S tier for me. Rogue, one of my I'll say A tier. I'll say A tier because I think Storm is a bit above, so but
Okay.
it's a strong A tier.
I like the unrestrained, and now you suddenly went unleashed, method there. I was a rogue hater for sure. If you asked D20, I don't know, a year ago or so, where you place rogue, I just near the bottom. She never worked right. I agree with your analogy of like you want it to be this blank canvas and to do all this stuff and whatever, and that's kind of how I approached it, and it never worked well. Over time, she has gotten more interesting when I stopped trying to do that. When I leaned into just this sounds so weird. When I leaned into touching what I want, it got more
Excuse
interesting.
me? We're keeping this PG.
Yeah, I'm trying my best, Rogue. I'm trying my best here. Um, so it got more interesting in that sense, and I think multiplayer she's more interesting than solo. But that's not to
True.
discredit solo. She is fun in solo. Southern Cross and trying to figure out when you're gonna like what you're gonna touch on the board to like do different things with Southern Cross. I think is kind of interesting. Same with going Rogue. She was an F, the F for me, and she is probably now like a good C, like maybe a higher C. Over time, maybe it goes even higher. I don't know. I don't want to get ahead of myself. But she has definitely moved up to. I went from I don't want to play this character at all to yeah, I would play Rogue, and I'd probably have a good time playing her.
I'm excited for this hypothetical future situation. 2 years, like I'll come back. I'll be like, wait, what's Marvel Champions again? And you'll be like, we're gonna rank these heroes by fun. And I can't wait for Cyclops and Rogue to be an A tier.
I don't know if Cyclops will ever get there. Rogue, I don't know. Each time I play her, I seem to have a little bit more fun. So there's a
Yeah.
chance. There's a chance.
I I want to say my favorite card for her is Superpower Adaptation. I
Mm,
like doing combos, and this lets me get my combo pieces more reliably when I want them.
mhm.
And if you build in like a combo to her decks, like I just think it's very very fun.
Yeah, yeah. All right, we
I also
have. Oh, you got
I do want to quickly say I mainly play two player as well, which obviously helps out
that
because there's
helps. Yeah.
always someone to like touch. Yeah.
Moving on. Okay. Okay. So next we have we skipped all over next evolution. Caleb didn't touch on that stuff. So now we have Age of Apocalypse. Caleb Grace with Tony. Are you an Age of Apocalypse fan?
I absolutely detest the campaign, but
Yeah.
otherwise, maybe don't drink your drink for a second. This is my favorite expansion. This is S tier.
Okay. Okay. I'm not against that. What so? Tell me why.
Both of the heroes I really like a lot. Um, if I had to rank them individually, probably both A tier.
Hmm.
Used to be S tier for me when it first came out, but like I've chilled on them slightly, but I still really like them. Bishop, I think he's really dynamic, like exciting game plan. He does do the same thing, kind of like all the time, but like that game plan is so different and exciting. It's kind of like Drax. Like they made it. If I'm gonna do the same thing all the time, it better be like big, and I feel like
Hmm.
it is. Uh, Magic's just really interesting. You know, I feel like you can do well with her quite easily, but like really optimize her. Like, there's actually a lot you can do. You know, you might want to line up the resource on top of her deck for an event and for her weapon, but then what do you want to play on top? And like, you've got a lot of like things competing for like, you know, optimal like optimizing. And I can my brain can kind of enjoy that kind of thing. And I think she
Yeah.
can do a lot very reliably because she flies through her deck, particularly like spiritual meditation, but also just seeing the top card just very consistently puts things together that you want to happen, which I really like. Limbo is really fun. She's kind of what I wanted Domino to be. A lot of people
Mm.
love Domino. I Domino for me was too much control, and I feel like Magic I have less control, but the individual
Okay.
decisions are more impactful. It's my like full analysis of that. Um, I like every scenario. Unis is lowest, but aside from like the first scenario, I actually really like Four Horsemen. It's my favorite multi-villain. I then really like the last three scenarios. They are some of my favorites in the game. With Enstab and being my favorite at the end. I think that's the one that knocked Magneto down for me.
Okay.
Um, it's just it's kind of like just like almost a straightforward brawl, but he changes form, so you have to keep adapting and different things. And like sometimes your deck might not work, but then sometimes it will, and you're trying to find your moments. And there's always stuff happening. And because of the power counters, sometimes he surprises you and goes into the stupid form you didn't want, and almost feels like another player is playing against me in a way that isn't Civil War, if that makes
Hmm.
sense.
Hmm.
Um, like, oh, I'm going to go into my scheme form. I'm like, oh, that's the one thing I didn't want you to do. Um, and then we have the mod sets, and I think this is like set for set, like the best set of mod sets we've ever got. So many permanent ones that change the game from the beginning, and even the ones that don't are kind of interesting. Like the Hound can like drag you out of alter ego, like nothing else does it like that.
Hmm.
So Celestial Tech's really interesting attachments that like stick. You can't just like, oh, it's an attachment, I'll just pay to remove it, or it's ignorable. It bothers you, but you can't just get rid of it. So like, I really like all of this stuff a lot. I feel like everything except the campaign, which I
Agreed.
hated. I feel like is really good. I'll say why I hate it. You've got this different mission area, so I'm basically playing a second, more boring version of the game that's dependent on luck of what I end up discarding. And I've only ever played it once because I'm not touching it again. That's all I remember, and that's about that.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not even gonna touch the campaign because if I do, that lowers this box so much, and it's not worth it doing. I will say there's one thing I think you forgot that makes
Oh,
this really good: dinosaurs.
it does have dinosaurs.
Yes,
It
dinosaurs.
also has like going to the moon,
Yeah,
which is also
yeah.
cool.
um, yeah. Oh wait. Oh yeah, you said S tier, S tier. Okay, so I I think I put it in A tier, a low A, but an A nonetheless.
Okay,
Bishop I've softened on because I feel like I'm just doing a lot of energy stuff with like resource cards over and over, and I've gotten kind of bored of that.
yeah.
Give me 6 months when I haven't played them recently, and then I'll be like, oh yeah, this is fun. I enjoy this. Magic I was against, and it was because I was not smart enough to understand Magic at first. There's just so much going on that D20's brain just hurt and didn't understand what I was doing. And now that I've like truly understood her, I think she's really, really cool and really, really dynamic, and I enjoy it. Big fan. Unis I like a lot as a villain. I think it's cool that like yeah, you can ignore that side scheme if you want. I mean, it's probably not great if you do, but if you want to, he's just going to gain retaliate, stalwart, and extra boost icons. And I like that change. I like when it gives you options of things and it doesn't force you to do something. I think that's cool. I'm a four horseman hater. I don't like the scenario. There's nothing I like about it. It's just not enjoyable to me. Um, APOC 1, Apocalypse, I love. I think that's a really cool scenario. I think that's really well done. Dork Beast, I love. A lot of people hate on him, and I because he's not doing anything crazy, I guess, but like it's just a good, solid villain that I don't have to like worry about changing this and changing that and doing all these weird things.
I think for me, just to quickly say, I think almost kind of like N7, he's got like three different modes. He's got three different mod sets that anyone could be out, and you don't
Yeah.
know the order. And it's not exactly the same, but he has extra interaction. He's making whatever they do happen more. So like, it is interesting for me every time I play him.
Yeah, and Ensabaner, I also like. I like him a lot. I like the different forms, and then forces to change him, and it's. I think that was a cool mechanic and a cool way that they did it. Yeah, I'm a big fan of it overall. So, like I said, I think it's an A tier box. Dinosaurs obviously push it way up, naturally, but trying to see anything else. If there was anything I truly hated, Clan Akabai wasn't the biggest fan of that mod set, but it wasn't bad.
I actually really like that one.
I don't know why. It's just every time I look at it, for some reason, my gut, I'm like, D20, you hated this, and I don't know why. There's nothing that I should hate about it, but there was something, I guess. I don't know. Who knows? One of those crazy things. So, all right. Next up, we next up we have Iceman. Um,
Ooh,
Michael
I feel like I
Boggs and
used to know.
Gabriel.
I feel like I used to know your opinion on this. Sorry, you were just saying it's Michael Boggs and
Yeah,
Gabriel.
yeah.
Yeah.
It
I feel like I used to. I feel like maybe we have a similar the way you're looking. I'm thinking, I people. I feel like I've always had this reputation of being like the super positive guy, which I don't think I've always been. But I do love the game, so I think overall, like when I get excited, I'm really excited. Iceman, I was not excited. Iceman, I gave a very, forgive the pun, a very frosty reception. I he almost immediately I didn't like him, and I played him so many times. Like, how do I get this to work? How do I get this to work? And I just come to the conclusion that I can get him to work, but like he's boring. Everything's clunky, a little bit overpriced, and I would just rather be playing any of these other characters. I love the idea of Frostbite, but I feel like the execution could have been better. So Iceman for me, I'm gonna make a crazy conspiracy theory, which is probably completely wrong, but I feel like Caleb and Michael Boggs were like designing this character together or whatever. Then he left and nobody went back to it and finished it. It needed like another pass, right? I feel like that's what I think. So Frostbite is, forgive the pun, not intentional. Frostbite is cool, but I think they could have done more of it, and everything just doesn't feel good.
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, I guess I gotta rank him. I don't know if I'll say F, so I'll say D. So yeah, low D, not quite Doctor Strange for me, but not far off.
I'll rank him F. I do not enjoy Iceman. I played him, and it was one of those things that just like again because I liked Age of Apocalypse. I liked all the like I felt like we were getting so many good heroes in a row, and he
Yeah.
came out and it's just like okay, like I get what he wants me to do. I'm just not having fun doing the thing he wants me to do. Like the
Mm.
entire time, it is. Ugh. Yeah, I'm right there with you, dude. It's just I have nothing really to add to yours because I think you pretty much hit everything perfectly. But
Something I did realize more recently. If I ignore his snow clones, I enjoy him more
mm,
because they are so annoying. A, they take up a lot of ally slots, and if you want to do anything with those, that's annoying. Because they're not, you can't upgrade them, so like, there's only so much value you get. But they really matter where you have frostbites. And if you don't care about them, it's less clunky as game plan. I just kind of like, he's got two of these. I want to try and make use of them. I want to try and make
yeah.
his kit work. But the more and more I ignore them or use them less, like it's felt better, but I'm still not a big fan.
All right, agreement. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm curious what you think of the rest of this wave because I have various opinions and I'm not sure what yours are at all.
All right, let's get into a Nightcrawler then, because so Jubilee was a Tony design, so
Yeah.
Nightcrawler is Caleb. I think this was something that everyone was really hyped about because everyone loves Nightcrawler.
This was my most anticipated X-Men character. As soon as they announced X-Men, I was like, oh, I hope we get Nightcrawler. It's kind of like the Daredevil to me. I don't know something about the acrobatic characters, maybe a little bit like there's some kind of element, I guess. Yeah, I don't know, just it really appeals to me. Yeah. Do you want to go first on this or shall I go first?
You should go first.
Okay. Nightcrawler was a colossal disappointment
Oh,
to me, and I feel so bad saying this. Um, maybe, as soon as we knew he was defensive, we could have seen it coming because Villain Theory is not a defensive player. I don't want to lose to damage, but exhausting to defend is
Mhm.
like the opposite of what I want to do ever. And I know he doesn't have to exhaust to do that,
Mhm.
but he does have to pay a resource every turn to get Bamf, which is kind of just almost artificially reducing his options, like, in a way. And like, there are things you can do, but ultimately, here's two things I don't like. He's really defensive,
Mhm.
but also his stuff is kind of clunky to line up. Like having the right amount of Bamfs is almost a lottery, and you can do certain things to guarantee it. One of them is you put Bamf on the villain and don't trigger it, but then I don't get any benefit from like
Yeah.
having put it there in the first. Like it's like, oh, don't do your special thing, so your other things work. And I mean, sometimes it's interesting to have like a balance of like, what should I use this for? Limited resources, where to apply it. But for him, maybe it's because like the power, like the base power level is too low or something. Because sometimes not all of Magic's, cards I get the status card from, but it doesn't feel bad. But for Nightcrawler, like Phoenix, if I get a handful of
Mhm.
Nightcrawler cards, I'm generally like my heart sinks. I'm like, okay, well, we'll have to make the best of a bad situation. And I feel like I should be excited to see hero cards, and I'm not.
I agree with you. I feel like Nightcrawler was so just like hyped and everyone wanted him. I like Nightcrawler. He's fine. Um, Banff is I really like the idea of Banff. I think it's a really
Yeah.
cool idea. And it just felt like either nothing lined not nothing, but very few things lined up the way I wanted to, or okay, now I'm trying to figure out if I want to use Banff for the Banff ability or if I want to use it for port and punch or teleport drop. And like now I'm like making these really weird choices that just never felt good. Like I felt like I was just picking like hopefully this is the right thing, but it feels like everything I'm picking is bad.
Yeah, I feel like if you don't have like the right bounce in the right place, his events don't feel good. And if you don't
Mm,
have it on the villain, like that's arguably the most efficient place to have it for that one thing. It's almost a bulletproof valve kind of deal. Like, if you want,
mm,
your defense, it kind of messes with other stuff. Sometimes it works out. Sometimes there's fun things. I love the idea of teleport drop, by the way. I think that's so funny. I'm not familiar with that from like comics or TV shows or whatever, but the idea of like grabbing someone and just dropping them is hilarious.
yeah.
So like, there's little bits I like. It's not that I don't have fun with him. It's just significantly less than most characters. So he'll be a very low D tier, borderline F for me.
I don't think I put him that low. I think he's a high D, low C for me. Like when he clicks, it's good and I enjoy it. But I mean, I'm flipping a coin if it's clicking at this point. Like it feels like things can go really sideways really fast with him. And it's interesting too that because I rarely played in multiplayer and I always felt like he would be better in multiplayer. But is that not really the case or is it?
I think he's better. I don't know that he's more fun. Does that
Okay.
make sense?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I do prefer him in multiplayer. I think with a carefully picked team, he can really shine doing what he wants. But again, if I see a bunch of his hero cards, and I'm disappointed. That's a really bad sign. And he's still
Yeah.
defensive, which I don't love. So yeah.
Yeah. All right. Last one we got from this wave is Magneto. Caleb.
Magneto's such a weird character. He's kind of basic, but he's kind of weird, and I don't know how to describe it any more than that. Um, I like Magneto. I liked him more than I thought I was gonna like him.
Mhm.
I think I think I'll put him in B tier because when his cards, they're a little bit situational, but when you get full value, all of them feel really good.
Yeah.
And when you don't get full value, like, I don't know, maybe like 4 of them feel bad, but you still get something. Like, he has extra money, he's an extra card draw basically on his hero card, which is insane. Like, that's completely like, it's just really good.
Mhm.
Um, so I feel like B is good. Like, when it works, it's really fun, and when it doesn't work, it's not that fun. I love I'm lucky I got to reveal these. Like, I got to reveal Magnetic Missile and Wrapped in Metal, and although it's inconsistent, when it works,
Yeah.
hitting the villain with their own minion is like the ultimate disrespect. And if you win a game that way, it's like achievement unlocked. So the high points of Magneto really lift him up a lot, and the low points don't feel that bad to be honest.
I agree. A lot of people hate the whole wrapped in metal and magic missile, and I agree that like if there's no minions and you just kind of like get those cards, like it feels weird and awkward. And those are the only things for me that drag him down. Everything else I like. I like it a lot.
Mhm.
I think he if that was somehow to be a little more consistent, it pushes him for me in the A S tier. But because you do get like those really weird hands sometimes and whatever, and it doesn't quite work how you want, I agree with you. Like he's probably a solid B, maybe high B. Um, for me. I like him. I like the way he works. I think it's cool. I'm happy we have him. Um, but I agree that there's sometimes it can be just a little weird on things.
Yeah, I feel like the way he discards stuff as well makes it unreliable to do aspect stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that bothers me a little bit. Like it's just less consistent if I try and do something with a deck. So I end up building generic. But I do like what he does. So that's why he's not like A for me, because I think he could easily be. But no, B
Okay.
feels good, and I agree with what you say there.
All right. Next wave, Caleb worked on one deck, and that is the old Winter Soldier.
Oh, I forgot about Winter Soldier. I was bracing myself to like try and predict my future thoughts on Civil War. Um, yeah, Winter Soldier. I kind of said about it with Wolverine, and I don't know
Mhm.
I have a lot to add. I've got an arm instead of claws, but they want me to play an attack, and I play my attack, and damage happens. And he's, like Wolverine, he's a good kind of almost one trick pony. I think when I first saw him, I thought he'd be more of a minion guy, and he
Mm,
is. But a lot of his cards, like his arm block, his stun, and even his, other attack which has overkill, there's still something going to the villain. He's almost a rush or at least a high tempo. He's kind of going through minions rather than like being really miniony, if that makes
yeah.
sense. That's how I feel. But still, I've got one plan. The plan is attack. It's a good plan, but it's not my favorite plan. I don't know what I like because I've already like shut down defense, and now I'm saying I don't like attack. I don't like just removing threat. I guess I need some weird thing that's separate to like those things, like a weird mechanic that's kind of neutral on that. I have no idea really, but for whatever reason, I do enjoy Winter Soldier. But if he wasn't in my collection, I don't think my collection would like really miss out. If that makes sense. I have like Wolverine as other like high damage characters.
Hmm.
But I do what I really like about Miss Marvel, changing the values of your attacks. That's one of my favorite things about Gambit. I really like about Nick. So because his arm innately enhances damage for stuff, I kind of like that. I get to change up the value and like if I have multiple attacks, decide which is best. That's fun.
Yeah.
Talking myself up a bit, but I'm gonna put him in C tier.
Okay. Okay. I think he's B for me, but it's a really weird B. And the reason being is because I played a lot of Winter Soldier. Okay. I don't want to trash Falcon too much, but I played Falcon first. I played a lot of Falcon, and I was so miserable and just hated life. And then the glorious Winter Soldier came, and it, to me, is better. And I get people who could disagree. But I was so pleased with Winter Soldier that I was like, yes, this is phenomenal. Blah blah. I love everything he's doing. This is great. I played him a lot, and I didn't play him again since. And I think that's a big sign of things. Of just like I feel like not that he's solved, but like I did it. Like there's nothing more
Mhm.
interesting to do with him. Like when I play him, I know exactly what I'm gonna do because it's gonna be the same rough idea. And this is my biggest issue why there's certain heroes that are powerful or people like that I just don't like because if I already know what I'm gonna do before I even pick a villain, before I even pick an aspect, it kind of just degrades the hero slowly over time for me. So while I
Yeah.
say he's beer, while I say he's B tier, I think he'll actually end up moving down because I'm just doing the same thing over and over. And it really stinks because I do like him, but I don't know if he's gonna stick around that high for that long.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, we talked about like Drax and Bishop doing the same thing, but for me, that's more unique than play attack, which I think is why
Yeah.
I rate them a lot higher. And Winter Soldier is like do this thing that's like a really basic interaction. I thought I was gonna like him way more than Falcon. Falcon looked like too complicated, too much, like a bit weird. I ended up being the opposite. Like I really like Falcon. I know he's not in this because he wasn't designed by Caleb,
Mm.
but I think Falcon will age well for a lot of people as well. Maybe a little like Cyclops and Rogue for you. Maybe I don't know if he'll
Maybe,
click with
maybe.
you.
Who knows?
I
Who
don't
knows?
know. I don't know, but I feel like opinion will rise over time. But we'll see. But yeah, I think that's fair about Winter Soldier. Completely, utterly agree.
Yeah. All right, so the last one is going to be a bit. I mean, again, we mentioned this beforehand that there's going to be Synthesoid Smackdown that we don't, neither of us have yet. Wonder Man, neither of us have. Hercules, you may get in 2028 out in England. Who knows? Hopefully not that long. But Civil War, just so that everyone understands, Villain Theory doesn't have this yet, so he's going to have to kind of guess. So I'll go first, just so you can get some stuff with this. Okay. I'm gonna remove PvP for a second because I don't even really care about that much. Removing PvP, I actually really love this box so far. There's one scenario I haven't done yet, but Tigra, I didn't know how I was gonna feel about Tigra, whatever. I love her. Holy cow, because I love minion slaying. I love aggression. I like punching things in the face. It makes me feel good. And Tigra does it the best. And to the point that I love Valkyrie for what she could do with minions, but I'm like, oh no, Tigra
Oh,
is it's
oh
good.
snap!
It's I'm trying to like calm myself because I know I hop on hype trains early on and then I cool off real fast. So I'm like, okay, I can't judge it yet. Keep playing her, but every time I play her, man, it's fun. It's really enjoyable for what she does. Phenomenal. I love the hunted system. Um, Hulkling, on the other hand, I don't mind. I just haven't figured out Hulkling because of his change form thing. I feel like I'm all over the place. I feel like my problem is I want to get like wing shaped out there, which gives you the plus one stat line. And he wants you to constantly change forms. But I'm like, but now I'm a, what is that? A 222 hero. That feels good. Why would I not stay as that? And I feel like I have this weird mental block with Hulkling still. So it's way too early for me to judge him because I'm still all over the place with him. There's certain things that I like about him, but I don't like love about him. Uh, Captain Marvel's the only one I haven't done yet, but Iron or for the leaders, not the villains. Iron Man, I liked. I think it was really fun. I think he feels like you're playing against the like the hero version. I think that's cool. I think the same with Spider Woman that you're playing against that. I think that's really cool. Captain America, again, it feels like you're playing against Captain America. I really like it. They're a little complex now and again, but overall they're really cool. They're really fun. And then the mod sets in this, I don't know how well, if you're into theme, the mod sets will work with different things because it might feel kind of weird that all of a sudden you're playing against Rhino and you add like Spider Man in or something. Like that just might feel a little weird. But putting that aside, most of the mod sets, I've really liked the mod sets in this set. I think they're
Right.
really, really cool. And as long as I kind of shut that part of my brain off that it might not make 100% sense of why this hero is fighting with this villain, and you only have to do it if you don't want to. Regardless, I think all the mod sets are really cool. So for me right now, and I haven't finished the box, it's definitely going to be a high B, maybe a low A at this point, maybe a mid A. I don't know.
Okay, that's really exciting. I'm gonna be honest, the PvP stuff, like, I'm not even. It sounds bad. I'm not really that interested to even try it because
Mm.
I know if I want to play PvP, I've got games dedicated to it. I've even got Marvel games dedicated to it. I've got like Unmatched and stuff. Um, I I'm curious to try it, but whatever. Tigra for me, I was a little bit skeptical on like get minions, keep them around. It's going to vary a lot by what mod sets you put in and what villain it is. But my friend got it like earlier than you did, even like earlier than like US did,
Mhm.
over in the Netherlands, and he's like, "So Tigra, kind of amazing," and I'm like, "Oh, really?" And I looked into her again, and I become more and more excited to play her.
Mhm.
Just like I like combos, right? So you get the minion, but then you get like the card draw, but then like your resource generator gets another resource, but then your attack is cheaper, and all these things kind of like talk to each other. Even like the Ultrigo support, which I don't know quite how going Ultrigo with a bunch of minions is or isn't going to work, but like I love that it's all connected. It's this interesting engine, and sometimes when the characters like that, it's hard to interact with. But minions are so interactive, so much interaction you can do, not just in aggression, but obviously primarily in aggression. Even to this day, I did a humongous stupid video called "Every Hero's Best Everything," and when you get to the Tiger section, I had to do a whole page of just aspect cards that work with her because so much in aggression appears to work with her, and I've not played it, but I'm just like, this just how could this not be good? Even if it's like maybe more multiplayer where you don't have to account for as much just yourself, but nonetheless, I become really excited for Tigress. I'm really excited to hear this. This is the most I've ever heard anyone talk about it because I've kind of been avoiding hearing about it until now, and that's got me excited hearing what you say, like
Mhm.
about the whole expansion. But yeah, Tigra, I'm anticipating to be really fun. Hulkling, it's hard to know what to make of it. I've always had the idea in my head is like I pick a form turn one, and that's going to be my form, and build around that. But his resource generator, I think it does generate extra for his own cards,
Mhm.
so maybe that's the only one you've got for that. Maybe you'd be interested to changing form, you get to ready up stuff like that. Um, so I don't quite know, but he looks like he can do a lot of weird stuff with,
Yeah.
which the deck builder makes me excited. And I thought the villains, sorry, leaders, villains, um, whatever. Um, I mean, I've read Civil War, the comics, and I don't know. I'm pretty sure they should have stuck with villains for one or two of those characters. Is all I'm gonna say. Like,
Mm.
I question their choices. Um, but I don't want to get into superhero politics. What I'm what I'm trying to say here is that the villains look dynamic. Like Captain America, the tug of war of his shield. It's kind of what I said about N7 there. Like it feels like he maybe fights back a bit or something happens. I don't know how that plays out. Um, Captain Marvel as well. Like you hit her, she hits you back, right? That's kind
Yeah.
of her thing. And I love the idea of that. It feels really dynamic. Like I'm not just entirely in control because sometimes you have such perfect control of a game, you're just kind of waiting to end the game. Sometimes
Mhm.
you can scale difficulty and things, but they just I feel excited by the idea of them. So fingers crossed. Mod sets I thought looked mechanically kind of interesting. Maybe some of them look a bit samey, like a lot of status
Yeah.
cards giving and things. But they look like they do a lot, like boost effects and all sorts going on, which I like when a lot of stuff is happening. And a minion is not just here's a bunch of hit points to defeat before it can activate. So I have a good feeling, and that sounds really promising.
Nice, nice. I won't spoil this for you, but when you play Tigra and you're worried is about like, threat and like flipping down and whatever, it'll be fine. I had the
Okay.
same exact issue. I was like, there's no way this works out with all these minions or whatever. And then you figure it out pretty quick and you're like, oh, that's how they got around it. It's weird, but it works. It's to me, it's what the thing that like saved her because I too was worried that like I'm gonna like not ever want to flip down. And like now I kind of actually do want to flip down. It's really weird.
Okay.
It'll be a fun time. I'm really hyped for you to get it because I think there's some cool things you could do in it, and I need someone to build me some decks that'll be really fun with descriptions I won't read. So
Oh, good. I'll just put together 12 paragraphs for you to ignore.
I appreciate that. All right, dude. I appreciate you doing this video with us. Thank you so much. Hopefully, everyone agrees with our amazing hot takes. I know that the community will agree with one of us, at least, maybe most likely, because we had a few differences on things. So,
Yeah. Yeah, no,
uh,
thanks for having me on.
mhm.
It's been good, and everyone who hasn't already should obviously subscribe to you.
Oh,
If they stuck
thank
around
you.
this long, why haven't they?
Exactly. And if you listen to Villain Theory this long, make sure to subscribe to his channel before he retires officially. Maybe someday, maybe never. Who knows? I'll convince him.
When when's this video coming out?
The day after your retirement.
Cool.
All right, dude. I appreciate you.
Yep, see ya.